So I'm having some sync issues with my pasta, so it'll be just a moment. While I get that up, in the meantime, you know the first order of business is establishing quorum and remove for absence, so I think we can go ahead and get started with that while I do this. So, Mr. Johnson, if you want to take it away.
All right. Let's see. John Wilford.
President.
Stephen Harris. Gary Johnson here. Cassidy Aya.
Here.
Chris Blystone. Chris
He resigned.
Oh, he resigned. Madeline Krause.
Had a baby.
Had a baby.
True story.
Jennifer Haynes.
Here.
Anastasia Wilford.
Not on the body anymore.
No.
That must be an old
She moved.
Scott Ford.
This one. Gary Gagnon.
Yes.
District 3, Gary Gagnon.
Oh, okay.
Can you spell your last name?
It's G-O-N.
G-O-N-I.
Y.
Y.
And it's pronounced just like when you leave somewhere in Texas. I'm gone, You'll never forget it now.
Scott Ford. Scott Ford. DJ Howard. DJ Howard. Amy Lyons.
Here.
Matthew Whittington.
He resigned.
He resigned. Kathy Glass.
She resigned. Oh, no.
Tom Glass.
Here.
Sean Jones.
He's here, he just stepped out of the room.
Eric Van Sinkle.
I am here.
Renee Perez. Renee Perez. Liz Scripter. Liz Scripter.
She's not
Jeffrey Adams. Jeffrey Adams. Brian Buffard. John Palm. You say that. Bob Townsend.
Here.
George Reynolds.
Here.
David Turner.
Here.
Lee Sharp.
Late, but here.
Oh, no.
No front license plate. DPA, Department of Public, something.
Taxation by sight.
Somebody use that.
Stephen Haskett.
Present.
Bill Kelsey.
Here.
Neil Dyckman.
Here.
Carol Unsicker,
Here. Present. Copy.
Mike Dooling,
Here.
Kyle Russell,
Here.
Christopher Clemens,
Yes, sir.
Marion Young,
Here.
Andrew Emily.
Here.
Did you say here?
Here.
Anthony Valdivia. Anthony Valdivia.
Wait a second,
Mike Ryan.
we had a special.
No, I said that, oh, he's been replaced?
STAT Mike Ryan.
Okay. And is he here?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Sean Flanagan.
He was on.
He's not. Troy Keithley.
He was on.
Or two absences.
Mark Lowy.
Here.
Eric Schaefer. Here.
Skipped one, Rick Cover.
Eugene Flynn.
Seems, what, you skip one, you said?
Recovered.
Recovered.
Here.
Okay, what, this one?
Same one.
Okay, oh, then you'll, okay. And the name is Rick,
R-I-C, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
and the last name is spelled
Hubbard.
21. All right.
Gary, do you have two people for Senate District 22 board?
No, I only have your Eric Schaefer.
Yes, sir.
I only have one, so.
Should have Stephen Carter.
Is he here? Is Stephen Carter here?
He was running a little late. I don't know if he got here or not yet.
It's S-T-E-V, it's a V.
I think it's a PH.
T-H? A-N-N?
Ian.
Carter,
Yeah.
just like Carter.
Yeah.
Eugene Flynn. Eugene Flynn. Joe Burns. Joe Burns. Ben Farmer.
Hey.
Tim Martinez. I saw him. I saw him where I was. Chelsea Meckel. Becca Condon.
Present.
Arthur Thomas.
Present.
Frank Lozano.
Present.
Brad Clardy. Brad Clardy. Jordan Linnekugel. Jordan Linnekugel. Barry Hill.
Present.
And Shannon Thompson. Shannon Thompson. Okay. So if I do this right, we got 35 people here, 14 people absent.
Okay, so 35, 14, that's a total of 49, which
District 30, David Shaw.
David Shaw.
So are you replacing Jeffrey Potter?
No, I think he's the
No.
other seat.
Yes,
I
oh,
mean,
you, oh, there's somebody, who's his name?
David replaced James Goldston.
James Goldston, all right. All right, yeah. And your date, what's your last name again?
Shaw, S-C-H-A-A-B.
All right. So there's actually 4, sorry, 36.
50. Okay. So 36 present, 14 absent. I do recognize the quorum, and we can proceed with adopting an agenda. So hopefully everybody has had time to review the R3 that was posted up based on some suggestions that were made within the last week or so. So I don't know if anyone wants to move this agenda or anything, but I will recommend people to do so.
Move to adopt, just a particular number, your proposed agenda.
R3, yes.
Second.
Second, any objection?
Objection.
There is objection. Do you have anything you want to speak to?
No.
Do you have anything you want to say?
I just want to amend.
Okay, one on there. Okay, so there's objection. If you want to be recognized at this point.
I would like to strike LNC report by Whitney Billiard from the agenda. She's not here and she submitted a written report.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Is there objection? Hear no objection? Look at that real quick. And we're gonna bother with times. All right. Any other amendments or discussion?
An amendment, I want to strike the 5 minutes for a discussion of the district convention process that I had added to the agenda. I also want to strike the motions relating to Henderson County.
Okay. Is there a
Second.
Second.
I should know. What's your
Jennifer
name?
Meeting? Yes, sir.
Is there a objection? Point of question, yes.
That's all one motion or two separate motions?
It can be split up, but right now it's being presented as a single motion. Okay. She wants to strike her 5-minute report, and she also wants to strike motions related to Henderson County. Okay. So is there objection to striking these items from the agenda?
Object.
There's objection. All right, do you want to speak to why you wish to do this?
Sure. First of all, I've been going back and forth with Arthur on the forum, and I think my questions were answered, and so I don't think it needs to be taking up SLEC time. Also, I've extensively looked into the Henderson County issue, having it been in my district, and I just spoke with the parties involved to some extent this morning, and I have 2 additional things that I'm looking into that could possibly happen with that situation. Both of them do not require SLEC time and can be handled outside of this body. So if either of those 2 options are exhausted, the third option is that they're going to meet off the record and continue to grow the party and then come to the convention next year. So I think that is a resolution in some regard. If something happens with those other 2 options, we can talk about it on the forum. That's why I'm going to remove it. Okay?
All right, Mr. Reynolds, do you want to speak to your objection, or?
No, actually, she's partially satisfied. I wouldn't mind seeing more time for the discussion of district convention process, but I'm not that strong an advocate of doing it.
Fine. So with that, yes.
I'd like to speak against the motion. We may have solved this issue, but I think it would be nice for SLEC as a body to state that person that we admire or approve, and maybe just some type of formal censure of saying, you're acting like children, please stop.
Can I respond to that? Having looked into the minutes, just all the documents, I can speak for a couple of minutes if you want me to, but I don't usually need 30 minutes, but I can kind of give some points that are besides all the infighting, but I'm just talking about the actual what has happened. And I can sum that up in, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that, just to give people an overview. So.
All right, if there's no more discussion, we can actually proceed to vote on whether to,
Strike.
I'm sorry? Yes.
Yes.
Charles.
I'll just mention that we can discuss this outside of this meeting.
All right. Well, with that said, we can proceed to a vote. All in favor of striking both of these items from the agenda, raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we're left with this. Anything else before we proceed with an adoption? Yes. So, sir.
Point of information, we're gonna strike Whitney off? Was that mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Farmer.
I move to strike the IT report since Liz is not here.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any information? Yes.
Was that where the vault project was going to be discussed and no one can talk about it?
It was. I can talk very little about it, only very little about it because that's the extent of my knowledge. But I don't mind talking about it in our report. I don't know if we're going to get anything better from anyone else, to be honest. But yeah, I don't mind kind of bringing that into mind if you still want to talk about that.
I'd like to know what's happening.
Yeah. All right. Any more discussion?
Just a point of information, that is a 2-hour lunch window.
Yes, that is. Yeah, and we can, when the time comes, that's just scheduled, so it doesn't have to happen. So when time comes for lunch, we're all feeling 30 minutes is an appropriate time for lunch. Or we're just feeling that we don't need to recess. That can be done with how long we recess. So just FYI. So the motion has been made and seconded to strike this 15 minutes.
Arthur mentioned that Liz submitted a written report. Is that available for review, or can that, how long does it take?
No, Whitney.
Oh, Whitney. Okay, sorry.
My knowledge, Liz. Okay. Is there any objection to striking this? Hearing no objection. All right. Anything else before we proceed with adoption?
Point of
Mr.
information,
Councilman.
you advised us that there are 36.
Mr. Slides, Mr. Councilman.
Move to approve.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Move vote to approve.
I think it's already moved, so we don't need to do that. Yeah.
Move to a vote?
Call the question.
Are you calling the question?
Yes, on the question.
Okay, is there a second call on the question? Is there objection to calling the question? There's objection. Okay, all in favor of calling the question, raise your hand. All opposed? I think we got 2/3 by whose hand was up. There was a weak vote. I'm gonna try one more time. All in favor of calling the question, raise your hand. All opposed? That is your 2/3. All in favor of adopting this agenda, raise your hand. All opposed? Our first motion. Ms. Les.
Could you advise us how many are currently on the body? Was anyone removed for their second absence? And, that sort of thing, as a result of the roll call?
That is a good question. Besides,
we got very good attendance. Actually, Troy, well, he resigned,
yeah.
so he would have been removed, so, no, nobody was removed.
this one, was Anthony Valdivia the president or the absent?
Ah.
Is Anthony Valdivia?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he would
yeah.
have been removed.
Yeah, I got you confused, there's now 2 in this district. So Anthony Valdivia is the
Oh, and I'll announce, I just got word 2 days ago, So, it's not,
All right, so the one that you moved is Anthony Duffy.
yeah. I think you're right on everyone else, I don't think there's anyone else here. So, okay,
So 50?
it would be now down to,
Well, I think it's 50.
minus one for the little, right?
Because I actually didn't count Christine Valdivia as absent because I got this confused with Mike Ryan here.
So, yeah,
So
so we'll be.
Mike Ryan.
And we have
Two people
36
here.
present.
Yes, we have 36 present, that is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Not a problem at all. We've done the agenda, previous meetings minutes, Gary, if you want to, I'm gonna get them, but I'll.
All right, I posted them yesterday, or this last meeting. And Tom pointed out to me, there were two changes to the previous minutes, which are very simple, and I put the notes about what those changes are in the most recent.
All right, Mr. Glass?
I move that we adopt the Round Rock minutes, and with the modifications as specified in the title minutes.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Is there objection to that? All right, motion carries. And I'm guessing there are no more motions. Mr. Glass.
The other motion is that I move that we table the most recent ones for two reasons. I move that we table, and then I'll speak to the motion.
I think the motion to postpone to the next meeting is what we're trying to do.
Oh, yes, okay,
Yes, please. Is there a second, first of all?
Second.
Is there a second? Please.
Yeah, I would say there's two reasons for this deferral. One is the fact that we got them fairly recently and haven't had time to review. But the second is that I have reviewed, and there's a section on the vote about the lobbying efforts that was left out that needs to be added in. So, and I'll get the hearing on that.
And I'll point out, I have found that, and the reason it's confusing is because we brought it up before the lunch, we broke for lunch. After lunch, I believe that Rene Perez announced he had this compromise, is that?
Right.
And he gave me the compromise, I don't have it with me, but it's on a piece of paper, I do have it.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. Knox?
On these minutes, there were probably ones postponed. I just note there's, under budget, you have a B and a bang sign instead of a one, I guess, just a syntax error. And, it's not a big deal, but if I remember correctly, Jennifer Payne was the one who called out that last motion, or the last point about authorizing the budget instead of Kathy. It was a big deal, but that was my memory.
No,
It was.
Oh, okay. I must have been correct.
It wasn't Jennifer Payne, it was Candy Flush.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, I said that.
Okay, so with that said, I'll just ask, is there any objection to postponing those minutes? Hearing none, we can move forward. And I don't think there's anything else related to that item.
I'd like to point out that Renee is here. He's present now.
Renee has joined us, bringing our total to 37. And,
What district are you in?
Renee,
What district?
It's none.
No, thank you.
okay. All right, with that said, we can move on to officer reports, starting with myself. I'll quickly say that, unfortunately, Stephen Harris will not be here to give an officer report, which is why he's left off the agenda. That's a family tragedy, so, unfortunately. So with that said, I guess, instead of going into, my stuff first, I think there is a lot of people wanting to hear about both, and I think that's going to be a longer topic. So I'll go ahead and start with that, and then we can come back to other topics as necessary. So first thing on Vault, it moved along I'm gonna say fairly well. After the last meeting, we got some data from the Tibbetts campaign, that was passed along to a scripter to be integrated into our, vault project. I know she was also actively recruiting on new people, to be involved in that. And then I'm gonna say about a month after that meeting, it seemed like communication kind of went to a halt. I have reached out to her a couple times, without divulging too much. I would say that she was going through some health issues, and it's kind of stopped things. She's acknowledged that fact. Her plan was to find someone else to replace her, and she had somebody in mind. She set a deadline that was a month ago, for having that transition happen to this new person, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. She told me in a phone call, but I haven't received an email or anything written like that.
Was it by any chance Caroline Close?
It very well may have been. I can't say that for 100%, but it may have been. Okay. And so the deadline was set for that. At and around that deadline and after, I've given her 2 phone calls trying to get it remedied. I know we haven't really gotten in touch with communication after that. And so that's just kind of where everything's sitting. Nobody's really taking charge of it. A lot of the IT duties, in fact, I have kind of relegated out to other departments. I know Randy's doing a lot of stuff with the website right now just to keep day-to-day functions that have to go on besides Vault that are IT related, keep them going, but that's where we sit. I wish I had, better news, but that's just where we are. But I can answer any questions if anyone has anything related to that. All right, well, here, no questions. All that said, as far as my stuff, it was a little weird to me whenever I set up this agenda that there wasn't really any motions on there. And I started looking, because in the past when we set up an agenda, there's always been some business being taken care of. And it was bugging me a little bit. I was feeling like we must be missing something here. And so I started looking at what have we traditionally done at this time. And one thing it was actually brought up was we went ahead and got our committees done early. That's usually what we'd be doing during this meeting, and they're done. So the good news is we don't have any business on the agenda because we're ahead, which is good news. As far as the committees go, we as in myself, Anastasia, I know has been doing work setting up WebExes and stuff. And I think Randy has been helping a few of them with communicating out. But we've been helping them get together and meet. I know Rules personally, because I'm on there, is already looking at some stuff they're doing. They'll give more extensive reports. I know that there have been bids already sent out to hotels for our convention, which is unprecedented to have that moving already this early. We do have one problem in the legislature that may throw a wrench into everything. There's a bill that would actually move our convention. So we have a newest date, so when our convention is this year. But crossing our fingers that doesn't happen, or at least if it does happen, we get an indication like now that that's going to happen, so we can start planning around it. We are ahead of the schedule on everything. I know platforms mean as well. The other thing on that note is there's a few bills we have identified that are problems for us. I think we will get into that a little bit more during the political action department report. Most of them we've looked at don't have companion bills though, and so for anyone who is familiar with the legislature, that is a good sign for us. I'll leave it at that. So I would say things are looking really well in that department, though there has been some party stagnation. That's actually pretty normal around this time, but it's not good that has happened. That I'm working right now to combat. I've got a conversation with West Benedict last night about things we can be doing to get the party re-energized. So that is kind of where I've been at over the last quarter, and I can answer any questions if there are any. Mr. Dowd.
Yes, John, can you talk about fundraising goals and plans and where we're status and where we're at so far?
Absolutely. So I cannot tell you the numbers, but I think Ms. Vieja will have numbers for you here shortly. But I can tell you that our monthly donations have been falling off, and we don't really have any plans, any action plans, I'll say. Anastasia's standing up in the back. Yeah. Yeah, she is working right now on a fundraising letter that I forgot about. So yes, but we have a plan for a fundraising letter on that, but we haven't set a number. We said, I want to reach X by X time, which is not a good thing, but it's not happening. And so,
So I would like to make a motion, and you tell me if this is the appropriate time or one of the other reports. We have the establishment of a fundraising committee to handle this. Would that be appropriate now or wait till after Cassie's manager's report if they're talking about some of the details?
I would say, why is my still working?
It might be useful to hear from Anna and Cassie if they are working on pieces of this.
Yeah, it may be. So I would say let's do that at the end. If we just have to get to the reports, if we don't adjourn, we can address other business, and we can look at that. I guess just from a point of information, are you looking to fill that committee now, or just establish its existence and we can fill it at another time?
So my motion would be to establish the committee and direct the chair to appoint an interim chairman and take such action as required to nominate and appoint members and task that committee with the establishment of goals, reports, and the activities of fundraising and report to SLEC on a periodic basis at our standing meetings.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, nothing specifically. You mentioned this bill that might push our convention a day. I mean, I'm just out of curiosity, in your familiarity with the way that the Texas legislature works, would it seem to you that sometimes they pass these bills and they really don't take effect until the following cycle?
That is true, but I'm pretty sure, and maybe I can look at Eric real quick. I'm pretty sure this one specifically takes effect this cycle. Is that yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that is.
You have bill ID.
Do you know the number off the top of your head?
I don't off the top of my head.
We can pull that up and probably have it ready during the report. So, and it's I'll say this. It's not even really directed at us. It's really an administrative thing where they're trying to move their primaries. But since the dates are all connected, when they move their primaries, everything, moves around. So, yeah.
Sorry. If the Republican Party and Democrat Party are like us, they probably already have a venue booked, and maybe I'll look into that, because I would doubt that they would agree to move their own conventions and stuff around. They've already got a venue and stuff booked.
Well, it could be that, maybe the Republican, so I know in the past what the Republican Party has done, this was in Fort Worth, I think, 3 conventions ago, is they went to Fort Worth and they said, we're gonna hold our next 5 conventions here, and they got a nice discount knowing that was gonna happen. If they continue that pattern, I don't know if they have or not, it may be that they're hitting the end of their term where they can set a new one, and they're just at, a place they can do that. I don't know that to be a fact. So, anyone else? All right, well, that said, thank you so much for your attention, and Ms. Vieja. Yeah, sorry.
Somebody will get it right.
What?
So I posted the treasurer's report onto the forum a few days ago when I got back. I've been out of the country for most a good chunk of this time, but I did file the 97-page DEC report in January. And then my report was pretty slim. I just sort of put the current financials in. So if anybody has any questions,
We pull this up and I'll get it.
I can say on a fundraising note, one of the big problems is that as people's credit cards expire, we don't really have a system that follows up with them and gets them to re-up. So I think there are people who would be happy to continue donating who probably don't even realize they've stopped. And so that probably is something we could address pretty easily. I don't have time to make phone calls during the day, but if somebody wants to volunteer for that or to write some kind of program or something, I'd be happy to help.
I will say this on that same note, and I think target maybe to your motion later, we actually have an entire development department whose goals are fundraising as well as membership development, getting people to come in and become voting members and participate, even volunteer. We have an entire department that is completely empty. So, filling that department, if anyone has a time in their schedule as well as a special place in their heart for that kind of work, we have a spot for you and would be happy to bring you into that. So,
Yes.
Did you say volunteer?
I did say volunteer.
Volunteer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm a volunteer coordinator for Fireside in Texas, so, for other companies, so
Okay,
maybe we'll talk.
that would be
Awesome.
wonderful.
I would love to put something good together.
So I have a point of information about the treasurer report. I brought this up last time, I'm just gonna talk about it again. With the relatively low amount of income coming in, we have $1,100 in credit card processing fees. Is there anyone that can speak on why that's happening?
Yeah, I went to chat with John about this the other day. I'm kind of wondering if that is from, if some of that should really go into the vault project.
So
Because
that
a
was
lot
for
of the
purchases that was made through there?
donations. So
Okay.
that's like what we pay to have our credit cards processed.
Okay.
So I think maybe some of that should technically fall under vault project. It's really hard to do. We normally sort of just do a ratio to figure it out, but I probably should stick down.
I can speak to this a little bit with my history of actually being the treasurer. So the way that the credit card processing fees work out, and it's different from like MasterCard to Visa to Amex is actually the one that's the weirdest. But there's like, when you swipe the credit card, there's a base amount, I'm gonna throw the number 25 cents out, and then a percentage. And those two then come together, and that is how much you pay the credit card processing fee for writing that credit card. So a problem that we've always had in the past with accounting for this is, the convention's a great example. The convention comes through and people start buying tickets and doing all this, either same credit card processing window that we use for donations. And then they start getting their quarter and percentage off, which that total percentage, because there's a base plus percentage, is different depending on the size of the transaction.
Sure.
So a bunch of smaller transactions have a higher percentage than a few big ones. So we start getting this credit card processing fee. Well, we go to account for this in the budget, and we have this really big credit card processing fee, we've had very few donations. Well, what's happened is, it is very hard to go through, once you get your bill for the month, it says, here's how much you owe, to go through and individually say, well, this $1.25 went to the convention, and that 75 cents was donation. So what we've done in the past is we've just taken all that and just kind of eaten it, and said, it's credit card processing fees, you know?
So I think I mentioned this last time, but is there someone that I can have a conversation with about this situation? I'm not an expert, but I dabble a little bit with the credit card processing situation, and I might have something that I can speak into the situation to make it into a better situation.
If you have a company that you suggest or have a relationship with, send me an email would be the best way. I know Bob Townsend talked to me last night, he's gonna send one over, so I mean, if it's cheaper than this, sure.
Just so I'm clear, these credit card processing fees, if we've spent $1,100, that means we've taken in substantially more than that.
budget, I separate anything that's sort of not in our annual operating budget is separated out. And that's what I was saying earlier, is that some of that should go to other things, but like you said, it's a really tedious process, so.
Okay, you kind of answered the part of my question. I was gonna ask, does this include vault donations? And it does not. That's one,
It
right?
does not, no.
Okay. Do we have can you give us a feel for what donations and expenditures have occurred with the vault budget?
If I had Wi-Fi, I can pull it up when QuickBooks is a separate thing. I mean, I know we're in the black there, we raised a ton of money for vault, so, even with paying Amazon Web Services, the ongoing stuff, we were very okay.
Just a question, are we having a separate checking account for vault, or how are you segregating the vault funds?
I'm segregating it in QuickBooks, so I'm just sort of, tagging that as something else in QuickBooks and then taking it out of the budget. I mean, separate bank accounts don't really matter because it's all one budget.
All right, so that begs another question, which is the deposit account, the stuff on the front page, does that, the $22,000 include vault money?
It would, yes.
Okay.
That's all of the money we have.
John mentioned a fundraising letter that would go out. I'm not sure if this is necessarily part of your report, but I suppose one thing that is really obvious by our finances is that fundraising for a project is wildly successful.
Right.
General fundraising doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so, just a suggestion, fundraising letters, stuff like that going out, maybe it would be helpful to highlight specific projects or to focus on those things.
There's spots on the department that you could take if you want to write the fundraising letter.
No.
If I can, and you raised a good point there, and it's actually a point that I discussed extensively with Wes last night. So, in a fundraising strategy, there needs to be two separate avenues that you're taking. You need your short-term fundraising and your long-term fundraising. Your long-term fundraising needs to take the priority. You need, when your members and donors hear from you, they need to be hearing mostly from you about what you're doing, and then less so about what you want. A good example of that, 3 letters go out about what you're doing, what's going on, and the 4th one is a big money. Here's how we can do more with your money. We haven't been writing those letters. Nobody really has come forward and said, I have the bandwidth and love writing these kinds of letters. One of the discussions I had with Wes was about the possibility of contracting with him to just do that kind of work on a paid basis, but it wouldn't be like an ongoing thing. It would be an as-needed basis. He seemed like he was open to the idea. He also has some stuff going on with the Libertarian Booster Pack right now that's taking up the majority of his time. So he said it would probably be at least 3 months before he was really able to do that if we were able to work something out. So yes, I completely agree with you that the letter needs to be very focused, but it also is not just about how much money they bring in. I've never actually had a fundraising letter that lose money, but they make very little money. But it's not just about the money they make, it's about the impact they have on our members when the members get something in the mail from us. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the intangible value, in my mind, of these fundraising letters. And maybe that's a poor thing to call them. Maybe we just need to call them membership letters, you know? But anyway. All right. That said, back to, let me do this real quick, actually.
So, point of information,
Yes.
since she's given her report, are we gonna vote to accept her treasurer report into the record?
That's not necessary.
would like to thank, folks who made it out yesterday to the lobbying day. It was very successful. I'm going to talk about that more here in a second, but I also wanted to recognize a new member of our team. Ted Brown has stepped in as committee. Ted's got 20 years of experience recruiting candidates in California, and with straight ticket voting going away, 2020 is going to be a really important election for us to get some candidates filling all the slots there. So looking forward to working with Ted and hitting the ground running on getting candidates recruited. So thank you, Ted, for joining us. And yeah, so yesterday we had our lobbying day, which was great. We had about 17 folks that showed up, and I can say 18, we had a couple late riders. And so we did training there, just kind of generic training of how the bill process works within the Texas legislature, and then going over kind of our legislative priorities, etiquette for when speaking with staff or representatives or senators, kind of just the basics of how to engage with those types of people, because it's a slightly different interaction that you're going to be having. And then we broke into groups and went and visited with reps and senators, mostly staff, but I know a few people actually got to speak with their representatives, which is pretty cool. So myself and Ben Farmer made some inroads on some stuff as well. We've got a hearing on the getting Texas off of daylight savings on Monday. So that's going to be fun. We're also going to be, this wasn't one of our legislative priorities, but there's a rep who introduced a bill regarding civil asset forfeiture. So Ben and I were talking with their staff, and we're going to go to some of the Democrats on that committee, see if we can try to get that one pushed through to at least get in the calendar. So as far as our legislative priorities go, the marijuana bills are looking good as far as compassionate use and minimizing penalties. So those are both moving forward in the process currently, as well as the daylight savings as well. The specific one we're going to be, is that the referendum? Okay. So the specific bill we're going to be going to the hearing on is for a referendum to allow the people of Texas to vote on how they would like to, if they would like to get off daylight savings, if we would like to remain on standard, if we would want to remain on daylight savings, all that kind of stuff. So I think, I don't really care either way, one way or another. I just want us to not be doing the time change. So, and then let's see here. So we've got that. Regarding ballot access, there's a few bills that are not friendly towards us. Luckily, all of which are hung up in committee, and it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. So one of the big ones was HB 4416. That was going to increase the minimum requirement from 5% to 10% on a statewide race to remain on the ballot. That was put forth by a freshman representative. It does not have a concurrent bill in the Senate, and it's been in committee for a while. So we're keeping our eyes on all these types of bills, but so far none of them are moving. If they do move the calendars, we have mechanisms to go voice our displeasure to try to kill them that way. But at this point in time, it's usually kind of best to not make noise about these kind of bills and make the reps of either party aware that it scares us. So luckily those are, and then there was a bill that was actually you're going to be in support of regarding ballot access that was going to remove or minimize the, it's going to be HB 4439. It would, for new parties and independent candidates to get on the ballot, it would bring the threshold down to just a straight 10,000 signatures, as opposed to the, like, I believe it's over 80,000 right now, in order to get on the ballot. So that would have been a good thing, but that's also unfortunately stuck in committee. So not a lot of progress going on that one. Constitutional carry HB 357 also stuck in committee. I really don't expect that one to go anywhere. Unfortunately, this is a year where we're just not going to be able to.
In our point of information, does they have dual on that one, the constitutional carry? No, just the House.
Just the House vote. And so, yeah, that one just kind of seemed like a year where, unfortunately, Republicans are just going to be happy that we weren't getting red flag laws, and they're not going to be pushing to increase our Second Amendment rights in any way. And then there's a property tax bill, HB 2, that is just reported favorably out of committee, and it's basically would any increase of over 2.5% on property taxes from the prior year would require a vote by the constituents in that county, municipality, what have you. So again, obviously not exactly what we want as far as, you know, our state platform says we want the elimination of property taxes, but it's a small step in the right direction and at least gives the people some say in how much the property taxes are going to be increasing. It puts some kind of a limit on what the municipalities and local governments can do in increasing that. So relatively status quo type of session it seems to be. Not a lot has been moving in directions that, not a lot of those have been moving in directions that we would be in support of. Also not a lot that would be harmful to us that are moving forward. It's kind of a stagnant type of legislative session. So, yes, also a good thing.
Wasn't there also some bill about having huge filing fees for new candidate or something like that?
Yes, it's going to be 2504. Renee, if you want to speak on that real quick. It's also stuck in committee. It's been stuck there since February.
Is it okay? Yes, HB 2504 is a big deal. Unfortunately, the chair of that committee is in Chatham County, and we've been doing our best to rally the troops to write letters, emails, phone calls. Brooke Bailey has come up with a nice little image to help spread the word, push that around, and hope it's successful. There, I do have in public, just let you know now. One member of the committee that we have a friendly link with that may get us a little extra presence on the committee so that they can hear. In addition, the one thing you guys all want to think about is this law may be an ex post facto law. You guys remember your old American government in high school? Ex post facto? Because as it stands, our candidates are eligible to be on the ballot as the current law stands. This law, the way they have written it, would set that aside and make them go through a different process for the 2020 election. So it's something to keep in mind, guys. Adds outrage. So feel free to ask me this.
And there was one other. Do you know anything about the Dallas DWI woman's common law removing probable cause for stop law?
I actually don't know that.
It's Texas. You can ride a motorcycle without a helmet if you have insurance. But right now, just riding a motorcycle without a helmet is not probable cause for stop. Her law will change that too. If they see anyone riding without a helmet, they can stop them and see if they have insurance, which means, hey. And I think that definitely fits with our liberty, and it gets, a few million bikers in Texas immediately on our side.
Absolutely. Do you know the number of that?
It's, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's Nevy's, but that was one that got the DWI, so she's fighting for motorcycle safety by,
Okay. We'll definitely look into that. That's another point that I kind of wanted to go over. We're really short staffed, volunteer-wise. There's a lot of those that come through, and it's hard to keep track of all of them. Mr. Eugene Flynn, I couldn't see here actually, has been doing a great job of tracking a lot of bills for us. He's been killing it on that regard, but at the end of the day, I've got 3 people on my staff, and all of us are working full-time in other jobs, and I'm the only one located here in Austin. And fortunately, I just don't have the work schedule to be able to get to the Capitol and drop them down. So, yeah, we're hurting for volunteers, and I think it would really benefit us to have a paid staff member at some point who can focus on the legislative session as their full-time job, would be kind of my suggestion.
Did you find the bill number for the one that would move the convention?
HB 725, which is also stuck in committee right now, so no report has come out on it yet.
Do you know who sponsored that? We can look that up, but who sponsored it and whether there's been a hearing yet or not?
Let me see, I think I pulled up. Let's see. Larson was the only author, and it was referred to elections in February 21st, and it's the last that we.
So no hearing?
No hearing.
Yeah, did anyone go to the hearing for the HP 2504 for the filing fees from our coalition group, or anybody that we know of that went to that hearing?
Try to raise awareness of that.
Sure, so, is there any kind of, process we have, I know you're short-staffed, but is there any process we can have that I maybe don't know about, or that we can put into place that will alert us to important things like this? Because the filing fee is probably one of our biggest hurdles, as far as, just to get somebody, just.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the luxury of taxpayer-funded primaries, but we would have to pay as if we do. So at the moment, no, especially with these kind of hearings, it's usually you get 3 days notice, and so it's really difficult to try to track all these bills. If we don't hear it from a coalition partner, if it's not something we're made aware of because it's one of our reps being involved that we're tracking, it makes it really difficult to be able to know when something like this is kind of down the pipeline. So again, if we were able to have somebody full-time there at the Capitol, they're able to hear about this stuff immediately, and at least get the word out a little bit more quickly.
I was gonna ask, I think most people here are familiar, but this may be a good time if you wanna take a few minutes and explain what this is and how they can utilize it.
So this is an awesome resource. This is where you can look up any piece of legislation and where it is in the process. So you can look it up by word or phrase. I wouldn't suggest that because the more specific you get, the less likely it is that you can find the bill, and so you have to search pretty generically, and then it'll come up with 1,000 results. So the best is to know the bill number. You can type that in if you want to check where it is in the process. So it'll give you a breakdown of who the author was, any co-authors, or co-sponsors and sponsors, and then where it stands in the legislative process and at what date that last thing happened. So again, with like that HB 725, nothing's happened with it since the 21st of February.
I would also mention to people another really important thing you can be doing with this is find out what your rep and senator are doing, just because they're the people that you're going to affect the most.
I don't think you mentioned it, but you can also set that up. I learned about this yesterday at the training. I'm really excited about it. You can set it up not just where you have to check it, but where it will alert you. It will send you alerts as bills are moved and actions are taken. So I thought that was pretty cool.
What's the website address?
That's going to be capital.texas.gov.
Capitals with an O.
What? I didn't hear it.
Capital.texas.gov.
/NS.
No.
If you Google search the title Texas legislature online, that's the first hit.
Yeah, it'll also come up there. So here first.
For those that haven't been to the Capitol to speak at a hearing, could you give like a really brief layout of what the process is in order to speak? Because whenever I went and spoke 2 years ago, nobody really was there to tell you, hey, you got to go sign up, and it's first come, first serve. So if they fill up fast, you don't get to speak. So those that travel far will have a wasted trip if they don't get there early enough. So if you could like give a brief of what you need to do in order to get on the roll to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you're saying, it's first come, first serve when it comes to hearings, and there's actually computers there set up on the Capitol site that you can use to sign in. And that's going to get your name added to the witness list. Now, that's also works if you have no intention to speak, if you aren't going to be able to speak. If your work schedule is such that you're not going to be able to stick around, you can still sign in as a witness, and it will mark you down on where you stand on that bill and what side you were either,
Yeah,
supporting or opposing. Exactly, so that's an option as well, if you don't actually have the time to speak, you can go there and sign in, and it's the same as kind of voicing your opinion.
Also, the requirements of having like evidence to present, because you have to have so many for each representative that's on the committee, plus one for the secretary of that committee. So, I mean, I just know from experience that people that have no idea what to expect, it's best to have this type of knowledge. I don't know if there's some way that we could, I don't know, have some type of thing on the website for those that plan to take a trip to the legislature to, speak at a hearing. This is knowledge that we, as a party, could use to go and speak.
Oh, that's a great idea, and that's also kind of the point of the event yesterday. I'd say 80 to 90% of the people there had never been to the Capitol during a legislative session. So that was kind of the point, is we get you in, get you comfortable with what the process looks like, get you comfortable with the layout of the Capitol, where things are, where these computers are that you can sign in, and get you comfortable with speaking with reps and or their staff, so that we have more people who are at least aware of how the process works and can choose to go to the Capitol at different times as well for particular things that they're passionate about. So it's mostly an exposure type of thing to try to get people comfortable with the process. So again, it was a great success yesterday, but that's kind of where we're moving towards. We have a small handful of people with knowledge of how the process works and how to do everything. So we're trying to expand that and hoping to get some volunteers who are up and I'll go to Arthur real quick and then back to Tom.
Just a request that you maybe speak with the PR department a little bit after, and maybe get some posts on our newsletter about specifics. Because you gave nice handouts at the event yesterday. It'd be nice for general membership to get that, and also ask for volunteers.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to blast out the success of the event yesterday. We took a bunch of pictures and everything, and I'm going to be getting those materials that I handed out onto the website as well, so that people will have access to them. It's kind of just a bunch of handouts regarding our legislative priority that you can get to your rep and or senator, kind of breaking down where we stood on certain bills and why, just kind of presented some evidence.
You mentioned a bill that we should support, which was HB 44 something, and I didn't catch the number.
4439. That's going to be the one that would reduce the required signatures to 10,000.
So this is the bill that Ron Reynolds introduced last session and that Mark Miller's coalition was supporting?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it's the same one. This only deals with the signature requirement of by
It also does with primary screen out.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood when I read
Who
it.
is the sponsor of that bill?
That's a good question. Sorry, it's a little hard to keep all things straight. Let's see here. Kane? Okay.
Briscoe Kane.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Hannah.
So operations is operating. Honestly, it's kind of the day-to-day stuff of the party. So not a lot changes. Victor, I think I announced last time, can you come on? He's actually killing it. I say that, I shouldn't sound surprised. But he's doing a really great job. He's getting familiar with the position. We listed a membership card order, so once those come in, they will then be going out to people that want to. Since I'm not planning on being operations director in the next term, I went ahead and since Victor was not just be doing it from memory and put together a step-by-step on getting those done. That way we can kind of hand that off nice and smoothly next term. Is still keeping things moving whenever we get applications for county chair. He and Victor are working together to try to find people in unaffiliated counties to get this done. Victor wanted me to remind you guys that if you need your district information and you haven't got it, email him or hit him up on Facebook. He also said that if you did get your data and some of it was out of date, that we can update our records so that that's not happening anymore. So if you're making phone calls and they're disconnected or they're answering and they're saying that's not who that phone number belongs to anymore, I need you guys to take that down, send it back to us so we can update our records so we don't keep feeding you guys or future people in your positions crappy information. If you get bounce emails, just forward it to us. Literally, that's all it takes. Just forward us a bounce email and say, hey, this email is no good for this person's name. And we can get it fixed. We need to hear back on that stuff. So the fundraising letter that I'm working on, one of the things that I have noticed is that our membership numbers are down. They're not down considerably. And one of the things we're actually seeing is a significant shift from single one-time donors to recurring donors. And in fact, our largest donating member base is the silver monthly donors. That's $25 a month. So with this fundraising letter, I'm actually, a lot of times when we send these out, we're just asking for a donation, not a specific amount. Maybe we'll ask for recurring donations, but I think what I want to do is that seems to be the place that a lot of the people who are already giving are comfortable with. I'm just going to start at the $25 a month donation, and that's going to be our initial ask. There are some people that I will be targeting for some more specific stuff related to, with relation to our candidates and stuff like that, but that's going to be a little bit on the back burner while I get with political after the legislative session. And they've got a lot on their plate right now. So we're going to be doing that. I've already identified a list of people who we have known to be donating members in the past. That's going to be our focus is just recovering those through the letter, and then I also am going to be getting with PR here soon and see if we can do some online marketing to try to bring in new donors. So we're going to pull our old people back in, drag some new ones into, and hopefully we will see a spike in our bank account here soon, and a spike in our credit card processing fees to go along with it. Questions? Yes.
I'd like to make my motion now, and we can continue to discuss.
Probably best to wait until after all the reports are done, because it's really not on the agenda as it is.
Will there be time if it's after the reports are done?
I'm sorry?
Will there be time if it's after the reports are done?
If we're still in session, if nobody adjourns, we'll be in session. And you can move to suspend the agenda if you would like.
No, this is relevant to the agenda that's here. Yeah, this is the topic we're discussing. I'd like to make the motion during this report.
It's relevant to the
Fundraising.
operations report?
This operations is handling fundraising as we discussed earlier.
Second.
I'm going to say it's not relevant. You can challenge it, or take a vote if you like.
Should I like to challenge?
Okay, fair enough.
Before we go forward, I couldn't hear everything you said. Are you making a motion right now, or are you?
I would like to make a motion now to
Okay.
establish a fundraising committee. It builds on the work that Anna is currently doing, and it's the topic of this as well as 2 previous reports.
Yeah. So to get everybody caught up, Is the
motion to suspend the rules?
No, not quite, not quite. Let me get there. So he's trying to make a motion that he previously put up. I ruled that it is not relevant to the topic at hand. He's challenging me that it is, so we're about to proceed to a vote. And if you vote, I'll be on this one. If you vote yay, you're voting to overturn. I was good at this. Okay. If you vote yay, you are voting to uphold my ruling that it is not germane to this topic. If you vote nay, you're voting to overturn me and say that it is germane. Okay? So if you think that this is something that should be discussed now, you're going to want to vote nay. If you think that this is not germane and we should not discuss it, you're going to want to vote yay. Is everybody clear on that? Okay. So the motion is to uphold the ruling of the chair. Yes. So all in favor of upholding the ruling of the chair, vote, raise your hand. All in favor of overturning the ruling of the chair. My ruling is overturned. So please proceed with your motion.
I would like to move to establish a fundraising committee and the director chair to appoint an interim chair and take such action as required to nominate and appoint members. Fundraising committee shall be responsible for all fundraising activities and shall establish goals and report to SLEC on fundraising progress. And we shall further move $5,000 to be placed in a designated account to be used by the fundraising committee for fundraising activities.
Sounds good. Do you have that in writing that we can present?
I do.
Secretary would much appreciate it. If you can bring that forward.
Second.
Second. There has been a second. I guess for now, for sure.
I'm not sure we'll see my.
It'll be a minute.
I have a point of information.
Yeah, let's get this done, but I want to look back. Awesome. Okay, so you're good on this? Okay. Mr. Glass, your point of information.
Is there anyone in this room who would volunteer to be head of the finance committee that's being,
Yeah, I would actually specifically ask Mr. Dykeman, because my plan is to appoint him if he is willing.
Point of order, point of order.
Yes, point of order.
Can we second the motion first?
It has been seconded, Mr. Glass. So, Mr. Dykeman.
It is not high on my list of things to do. I would do it on an interim basis to help recruit members if needed. Yeah, certainly would step aside for frankly Anna or anyone else who is doing the job now and who might continue to do it. Is the structure and assigning enough budget for the committee to be able to get started that I would like to see happen. If you continue with things like you described as trying to get somebody on professionally to assist, hence the need to put at least a little bit of seed budget there. It's only 10% of our cash. We have the reserves and it should pay for itself. So, yeah, I'd be willing to help out on the committee. I'm not nominating myself, or that has nothing to do with the motion. This is a structural motion to get our approved support it needs to get this rolling.
Fair enough. Point of information.
I don't see any type of budget, like issue on the agenda. This acquiring $5,000 is a budget issue, because where's that coming from? So we need to like establish where that money is going to be coming from, and that's a budget question, and I don't see any type of budget questions on the agenda.
I mean,
That's
it's a good rule.
where
That's
are we going to discuss where that money is going to be coming from to go into this newly formed committee if this body approves that?
I would say right now is a great time to discuss that. Ms. Conklin.
Is it appropriate to speak against or for the motion?
Yeah, so we've been kind of doing points of information. So let's get back in order. Mr. Ryman, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, I would.
Please.
Look, guys, it's not like people aren't working on fundraising. They are. But we don't have goals, we don't have plans. One of the things that's worked really effectively for us in the past is set up a committee. It is frankly easier to get people to join a committee than it is to fill out a role in an department. Yeah, simply because of the perceived time. I'm not even suggesting that the same people on the same staff that are already doing the work wouldn't be chairing the committee or doing the work. Now, this is just a recruiting tool to get some activity going. It's something that you report out on a regular basis. It's lifting fundraising up to the same level that we have platform, which is where I think it needs to be. It needs a budget. We have enough cash in reserves to be able to spend it. This is something that should pay back. If it doesn't, well, we've got a bigger problem, and it needs to be done. Whether we want to, and so I would argue, we need to change something. So if this motion is voted down, somebody needs to come up with a better plan on how we're going to drive some serious cash into here. Yeah, this may not work, but at least it's a way to get our ball rolling. So this is not a pejorative of what we've been doing now. It's simply a recognition that this is a crucial activity for the group, and we need to get it going.
And I think you're speaking against.
I'm speaking against it, yes. There were multiple calls on the forum over the last week and a half to bring any business that we were going to be discussing, to bring it up ahead of time so that it could be discussed on the forum, so that we could actually come prepared for something like this. This is a massive request to give $5,000 to an empty committee that we don't know who's going to be on it. Additionally, we have a department for this. We have a development department that no one has applied for, that we have open positions for, that people are not stepping into. So it seems silly to create more positions when we don't even have the positions filled that we currently need. So that's why I'm against this.
Anyone speak in favor? Ms. Glass, I've seen you.
I think I have an amendment, I don't, is there any way we can get this, motion up on the screen?
Yeah,
Well, if you can see this,
John, you type it and put it up?
I can't, would you mind moving, 5 or 10 minute water break and we'll get it all organized and
So moved.
And there's a second, 5 or 10, real quick, 5 or 10.
Is Anna's time gonna be paused, or what's going on?
We can come back.
Is this cutting into her time?
No. It is cutting into time, but the times are recommended, so we can come back in here. 5 or 10? 10 minutes, is there a second? Second. Is there objection? All right. Take it here.
Did you like it? No, it's nice. That's a good thing. This is awesome.
How important is the $5,000 to this? That's the number of years. You know how much is budgeted for fundraising There's a Christian side that you want to you can vote against it. You still can make laws for that. I'm already here. The other stuff I just have on the list of, these are the things that someone stupid committed 2 years ago and we're stuck with until this day. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. My understanding may be completely wrong. I mean, you know, this is a ton of rebellion after all. So it's pretty easy.
All right, I see we're returning to order. If there's anyone in the hall that's straggling, please inform them. I mean, either one. It's really just all right. So, I will get to you, Thomas. Just catch everybody up where we're at. A motion has been made by Mr. Beckman and seconded by Mr. Glass. We have gotten it on screen. I'm going to go ahead and read it for the body. Afterwards, I'll be recognizing Mr. Glass for an amendment. So, we move to establish a fundraising committee and direct the chair to appoint an interim chair and take such actions as required to nominate and appoint members. Fundraising committee shall be responsible for fundraising activities and establish goals and report to SLEC on progress. $5,000 shall be placed in a designated account to be used for fundraising activities by the committee. Is everybody clear on this side? Mr. Glass.
Okay, I move that we strike the last sentence, which says starts with $5,000 shall be placed in a designated account. And we replace it with language which I have provided to the secretary and cannot remember what I wrote.
I will be happy to put it.
Previously, development department funds may be used by this committee for fundraising expenses.
It's $1,100 just as an information.
1122.
I think that is what the budget is.
Just look it up.
I need a second.
Second.
Sure, yeah. Development department is.
See how bad I spelled stuff? I'm not too bad. Did good. All right.
I would like to speak to my team.
Absolutely. So before we do that, is there a second?
I will second, and then I'd like to speak.
Okay. Mr. Glass.
Yeah, the reason I make this is because already in the conversation it's been raised about what do we do about the budget, this is a change to the budget, et cetera, and I don't want to have to get into that. I support this effort, and I want to make sure that as many people in the room as possible support it, and I think by using what's already been budgeted, we take the budget issue off the table. The previously budgeted amount that we have in the budget for development activities is $1,100.
Point of information.
Point of information.
Can the chair explain what the difference would be between the department and a committee and what authority one would have that the other would not?
So the main difference is going to be that a committee set up by this body becomes kind of a subordinate of it, almost a part of the body, and it would normally what a committee is established for is to hash out a really hard motion or law, and it comes back and presents its findings to this body so this body can act on those findings. So it's kind of a subset of this body, whereas our department is a separate administrative group. You can almost think of the separation like the difference in the executive branch and legislative branch. So I guess the best description would be that the legislative branch is now establishing own wing for the purpose. I guess would be the best way to say it.
Thank you.
Mr. Dutton.
So I'm seconding this amendment. I'm going to abstain from voting on the amendment. I personally believe that 5,000 is an appropriate level given our cash reserves and criticality of this. However, it is entirely appropriate for the body to discuss the amount of resources we'd like to spend, and I would like to see the amendment get voted on, and I would like the body to determine what level of funding they would like to see for this. Regardless, I think the motion itself should go forward.
Point of information to anyone that can speak to this, would the differences between the $5,000 and $1,100, would that perhaps be the difference required for our fundraising to be better than it has in the past?
And that's going to be a really hard question to answer, but I think probably best able is Anastasia with the project she's working on. Do you have any thoughts on the difference between 100 and 5,000?
So, what I would say is $1,100 would get us started. I would expect, when we've done things like sending out fundraising letters, I can't recall a time when one of them was not profitable. So it would be my expectation that if we send out a fundraising letter, we're going to get back money we spend, and can come back to this body and say, hey guys, this was an amazing success. We spent $1,000, we brought in $10,000. We would like to take 5 of that, put it back into fundraising, put 4 of it into coffers. So I think $1,100 will get us started. Obviously with 5,000 we could do more, but we can start there.
Ms. Painter, did you just
I did, I have an amendment, but I also want to speak on this if I can. So I like the amendment that Tom made about this, because I also like this idea, and I want it to pass, and I don't want the budget to stop us. But if the fundraising committee comes up with an idea that requires more funding, they can come back to the body on the forum. So if they have something tangible and they say, look, this is what we had, but this is our idea, and we can judge the merit at that point, at least the structure is already set up to do. So.
And your amendment, is it germane to the red section?
No, this is a
Okay.
separate one, so
I'm
I'll say that.
that would be for it. Mr. Farmer.
I would like to move a concurrent amendment that we can consider together, which is a thing. Which in essence would eliminate all of the red lettering up there. So would eliminate the last sentence of the original amendment. It would also eliminate the last sentence of the amendment we're currently discussing.
So that is germane. It's going to be a second little amendment, and you are amending to strike even this.
Yes.
So that is in place. So is that your motion to just strike all the budget portion out of this motion?
Out of both motions.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So with that said, is there a second to that?
Point of clarification, basically you want to end at the period in progress, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we have I can't strike that, but I will highlight it. So we have a motion on the floor, an amendment on the floor to strike out the highlighted portion, so it would just read the black portion. And it has been seconded. Do you want to speak to the reason for this?
Yes, I think budgetary issues should be handled separately than committee issues, and it just makes sense to handle things differently.
Mr. Glass?
Yeah, I'll speak in opposition to this amendment. And the reason why is because I intend by my vote on this to see this committee to be an action committee, to engage in quote executive actions. I want them to get involved in getting the fundraising letter out, and I want them to spend what money they think is necessary to do that and have the authorization to do so. And I think we need the extra sentence that I put in there to be able to do that and have authorization for that. And so that's why I put that sentence in there.
Before you do, I'm going to take some privilege. I'm going to speak. I'm actually not speaking to either one of these. I just want to point out that from my perspective administratively, I don't really see a difference in either of these motions. Just from the simple point of, at the end of the day, with our current policy on spending, ideas are presented forward. They then come to me. I go to Cassie. I say, do we have the money? She says, yeah or and we have a budget for development, and that's not necessarily to a certain person. So if the committee or the department comes to me and says, I have a fundraising thing, let's get it done, I can determine that to be germane to development and do it. So I don't know which way I want to adopt the motion, it really doesn't matter, but I don't think it actually matters from my perspective. So I would like to say,
I was gonna say something vaguely similar. I mean, all of us in this room can agree that we just think that bureaucracy really helps things happen, right? So, it's great, let's pigeonhole ourselves into arguing whether this committee or this department or who has this. But like he said, look at the categories on the budget where I allocated to different departments, different amounts of money. It's April next week, and none of that money's been spent. We don't have a problem with people fighting over the money that we have. We have a problem with people volunteering, stepping up, and doing the things. So I don't think we need to specifically put language in here to tell this committee how it spends the money. That's not a problem. Let's just get some people doing some things.
I want to go off what you said. You said you don't really see a difference because we have a structure for you to spend the money. And I agree with that, and I think that's proper, and why I don't support any of the spending here. Because I'd rather we keep the current budget structure where you make the approval if you think it's appropriate, and we don't give money, whether it's 1,000 or 5,000, to a group of people that hasn't even been named yet. I just don't agree with that.
Yes.
I want to speak against the amendment. If you had a convention planning committee, and you brought it together, and you asked the convention planning committee to put on a convention, but you're not going to set a budget, just ask the chair for money. There's nothing to go on there. You don't know what venue to book, you don't know, you can't even begin to build plans. Budgets don't exist to authorize funds. Budgets exist primarily to allow the people doing the planning to know what the constraints of the planning must be. And so by moving money and authorizing it for use in fundraising, the fundraising committee, should it be set up, can begin to build plans around it. If you don't do that, it's much more difficult for them to start planning.
Mr. Ransom?
Hey, I would like to speak in favor of striking the language that refers to the dollar amounts assigned to this. I believe that's Ben's amendment. I think it actually has an unintended consequence of assigning a dollar amount to this as, being possibly even too little. If we accept the 1,100, that kind of pigeonholes and kind of sets a precedent for this committee to say, okay, this is what I have to work with. I also would like to see action with this and fundraising. I want this to pass. But I think if we eliminate the budget from that and get a report from the committee based on their recommendation, okay, this is how much this committee thinks we need in order to do XYZ campaign, I think that would be more, I think we'd have more data points to go off of and be more informed to assign the dollar amount to it. And obviously everything that Cassie and John had mentioned about how funds are asked for. So I would strongly recommend just keeping the language to establish the committee, but have the committee recommend what they need at the next meeting or inform or down the road.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I just want to tell everybody you look fabulous today. I said, I'll be losing weight and stuff, looking great, guys. I plan to vote against the motion altogether. At the end of the day, I don't care if this committee gets formed or not. If a volunteer for fundraising gets identified, that's awesome. Why can't that person serve on the department and spend the $1,100 and get some things moving? I don't know. We have to appoint a committee. It's sort of like a false sense of progress or movement when we come and we vote together. Yay, we got that done. And then nobody's really doing the work like Cassie said. Who is this volunteer that we're going to put in the committee, to chair the committee? Why can't that person get in the department, get to work, start creating the things, and get to work? Now we're talking about making a recommendation to the body. This is what we're putting this bureaucracy in line with the committee. I love Mr. Dagnon's passion for raising funds. He's right. Motion and things need to happen. We need to get to work. And And then the idea that everyone's kind of like, not me, right? I don't know. Let's create a committee, you know, and then we went, yay, we did it, we created a committee and they got some money. Hopefully that gets done, I'm gonna go on and like watch Netflix, right? Well, I'm just gonna, so I get the spirit of the motion, Mr. Dyke, and I love it. I love it, actually, you're right. We need to get to work. We need to roll up our sleeves and break some free funds. But there's a department already in existence. If we've identified a volunteer, Mr. Dyke, and he can put an hour a week doing it, great. If he doesn't want to do that, I mean, we're back in the same boat with a committee with no chair and no motion. So, guys, in the end of the day, it's just going to be the same people. It's just going to be the same volunteers that end up serving on the committee, the same active people, us. We're going to have to get on the committee that way, or we don't like committees. So, guys, at the end of the day, I would be voting against this, and I'm encouraging us. Some volunteer in this room, please step up and get to work. I'm serving on the department and committees. We're all doing a lot. So, I mean, I'm just speaking. I'm voting information.
Nobody. Yeah, I'd like to speak, let's see. Of the amendment of the motion and of the motion in general. First, I'm an IT guy. I'm involved in a bunch of open source projects, so I have a bunch of experience with hiring people with no money. And money is not the only way to pay people. The key to having people work for nothing is you're giving them something they see has value. One of the things that we need that obviously has value is raising money for the Libertarian Party. I hope. But the other thing that has value is recognition and status. One of the questions that was mentioned earlier was the difference between a department and a committee. And the difference between a department and a committee is who's the boss. The department answers to John, and the committee answers to us. And it's a different environment, it's a different group that you work for. And the reason to have a dollar amount on this, especially when you're going for volunteers, is to say, yeah, we're not going to pay you, but we believe in you enough that we're putting this pile of money in place for you to use. And if you need more, you can get more. But this is a status thing because the department hasn't worked. If there were people willing to do it as a department, they'd be in there now. It hasn't worked, so doing it as a committee, okay, it's a different status thing, and we believe in you enough to fund you with this money. Maybe it won't work either, but maybe it will, and we got to give it a shot.
Ms. Young.
I like to speak to it for this reason. I'm for the motion, and I'll say this. I spent my career managing money, portfolio management, taking risks. And the only way you can take risks is to minimize the risk by putting in some constraints. But unless you take some risks of some things that are not usual, it's a little bit different, but $1,100 is not going to break the bank, okay? And the measurements that are already in place, the chair has said, he looks at it, he swipes it. I say give it a chance. Give it a chance because we all know we have to do something different. If it doesn't work, you out $1,100. And we can go back to what we were doing, which is nothing, right? Why not? Uncertainty is a part of leadership and making things happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but you have to trust in yourself, trust in your system, and trust in what we're trying to accomplish. If you do that, we will be successful.
See, quite a few people have already spoken. See, their second one. I think it's Congressman. I don't think you've spoken, have you?
I spoke for the initial one, not for.
But not for this. Go ahead.
It was actually a point of information. So
Okay, go ahead.
Doesn't matter. So to Mr. Turner's point about we wouldn't ever fill in the convention committee and not give them a budget, was the convention committee given a certain budget to spend without the approval of SLEC or anything like that?
So the convention committee was given a budget. It followed the same process that we followed for spending for everything else. But yeah, that they were given a convention budget. That is correct.
Our current one? No.
Oh, currently, no. Our last one has. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
I was confused for you said it with such authority.
Sorry. One second. Who just said?
Can I speak to that?
I'm gonna.
That was just a point of information.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hear, but actually,
He has an answer to her question.
Oh.
It was, note, as a member of the convention planning committee, we did not begin the year with a budget for that year, but there was some precedent. We had a budget from a previous year, and we had budgets from years before that. And we had, based off of that, there was an understanding of how much to spend. We've not had a fundraising committee before, as far as I know. And so my point was, is that it would be generally useful for the fundraising committee to have a sense of how much money was available to be spent, at least initially. And since there is no precedence of previous budgets having been set, it would make a lot of sense to start them off, at least with a bit of seed money, which I feel $1,100 would fall into that category.
Ms. Farmer.
Yeah, I just want everyone to be very clear that this is not an action. These are words on paper. And it still requires people to get involved to go and handle this. So why aren't those people getting involved where this already exists? Which is the departments. It already exists. Just gotta do it.
I heard a point of information.
How long have we had a development department?
5 years.
So, yeah, 5 years.
And a follow-up on the point of information. Who is in charge of determining who could be the head of that department?
Me, I guess.
And a follow-up to that information. Has anybody come to you asking for that position?
I'll do this one. We need to stop. No, I approached a few of them though.
I just want to correct something that was said earlier, that if we have a staff position, like you said, it's sort of in the executive position, y'all are sort of overseeing the staff positions. This body doesn't lose control over either committee or staff position. In fact, last cycle we had someone make a motion to remove an entire body because they didn't like one action that they took. So this body can still do what it wants regardless of either of these cases. So it's not a one, that's irrelevant.
All right. I see someone who hasn't spoken yet. Can you remind me your name, sir?
Mike.
Mike.
Right,
okay.
Point of information. Words matter. The word committee implies volunteers. The word department implies full-time employee. If you want to attract new people, my suggestion is we use the word committee, and we do this for the distinct reason of attracting new people. That's the whole purpose of using that word. For reference, the Houston Rodeo has 100,000 volunteers. They're committee people, vice chairman, except all the way up. They have maybe, out of 100,000 people, I don't know, 50 or 100 employees that actually work for the department. So the word committee does apply.
One second. So I agree with you, this is not for information, I am taking that as a debate on the topic at hand.
Well, the word committee. All right.
Request for information.
For information.
Is the chair aware that Mr. DJ Howard has run?
I am not. If we can make sure he's marked. What district are you, Mr. Brown?
Sorry?
What district?
District 4.
District 4. There it is. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lance. And you've already spoken twice. I've seen you.
I haven't had an opportunity to speak to the motion in general. I was trying to keep my comments germane, but.
Well, that wouldn't be the appropriate time now.
Well, everyone else has spoken to the motion in general to this point.
You can speak for a second time.
It was just, we've had repeated difficulty filling department positions, but we've not experienced problems in the past filling committee positions. In fact, we just had a vote right after the new year on filling a whole bunch of committee positions, and we had all sorts of people lining up for them. I'm with Neil in the sense that, you know, if something's not working for you, maybe you ought to try something new. And I do know from my experience of having been on one of these committees that committees do work. There's a sense of community and a sense of accountability within the committee. It's an effective tool for getting stuff done in this party. We've seen it over and over and over again, that our committees do get stuff done.
Ms. Ransing.
If I may double dip, I just wanted to echo what Mr. Sharp was saying. There's
there's a status, if you will, to the committee. We had a number of people that did not get on committees. I think that phrasing it as the committee it has intangible like benefits, and just working with teams that you can't always give a bonus to or pay the highest dollar. There's other benefits that you can do. Also, I mean, I have somebody in our county that we want to get more involved. I think it would be a good opportunity to establish a committee and see who did get on committees before and who has new get on and see what they can do.
Mr. Campbell.
Call the question.
Second.
All opinion questions or the current question?
Current question.
Okay. Is there a motion to call the second level amendment on striking on this? And there has been, so we'll proceed to a vote on calling the question. All in favor of calling the question, raise your hand. All opposed? That does achieve 2/3. So we will vote on Mr. Farmer's amendment to the amendment. All in favor of striking the highlighted language here, raise your hand.
In favor of striking?
In favor of
Striking the dollar of all of it.
Strike everything in red.
Everything is red.
Everything in red.
Yeah. In favor of getting rid of the that's a good way of saying it. All in favor of that, raise your hand. All opposed? Oh, that's close. Alright. All in favor of Mr. Farmer's second level amendment, raise your hand. 1, 2. Count it up.
5, 6,
7, 8,
9,
10.
12,
13.
Mr. Francis, 14.
15. 17. 18.
18. All opposed?
1,
2.
4. You're 4.
6,
Ms. Sherman?
8, 9, 10,
11.
12,
13.
14,
15.
16.
Carries. Okay, so we are now to adopting the amendment to the motion, which would strike all the language. Can we just proceed to vote on that one? I think that's pretty much the same. All in favor of striking all this language, raise your hand. All opposed? Carries. All right. That's struck. Okay, so now we have a main motion on the floor. It is the text in black.
point of information.
Yes.
That is, Mr. Chair, are you intending to appoint Neil Dykeman to be the interim chair in question here?
That was my intention. He has said that if there is someone else who would rather do it, that he would be willing to step aside. So I first intend on asking if there's anyone else who wants to do it, and if not, then yes, I do.
I'm not taking unfunded position.
Okay, so then.
So that would not be.
Okay, so then I guess I will not be because he won't be taking it. So, all right. Any other?
All right, I now have a comment, if you're, whenever you're ready.
Please go ahead.
Okay. The value, some other people have maybe spoken to the fact that the structure may actually get more status and actually move us forward. And I agree with those comments. But the other thing, that the big value that I saw that Neil was offering to this was that he would go and recruit people to be on the chair, because it's recruiting that needs to be done here. And just putting the effort into recruiting is a major step forward. Once they're recruited, I think the committee will actually start doing some work and get something done. So I'm going to continue, I'm going to still vote for this, and I'm going to go afterwards, and I'm going to urge Mr. Dykeman to consider what John has already said, that he will make these funds available based in the budget to this committee, and urge him to do so. So I urge people to vote for this motion.
Mr. Payne, can you recognize?
Yeah, I have an amendment. Okay, so after and established goals, I want to add with definite times, and I'd like to
I will recognize you. And I wish.
Point of order.
Last goal line.
We're all pending questions called with that not.
No, just service goals. Are you doing it again?
With definite times. And the reason I want to make this amendment is because one of the principles of execution is we're going to go from X to Y by when. And those, I mean, it's absolutely key for production. And so it's a very simple amendment. It just gives us some specific, when they come to us and make a report, we're doing this, we're going here, it's going to happen by this time, we can release the funds or whatever we're going to do. But it's a basic principle execution. So.
I probably did this out of order. Is there a second to this?
I'll second that.
There's a second. Is there anyone to speak against? If not, we can proceed to the vote. All right, all those in favor of this amendment, raise your hand. All opposed? That carries. So with that said, we back to the main motion. Ms. Farmer?
I'd like to speak against the main motion. Everyone in here is a member of the executive committee of this party. Just under it. You don't. If that's something that you want to do, then you have a blessing. I mean, you don't need this. This is just extra. I don't even know why this is needed. You can just be outside of this room. You can say, hey, the four of us, we've got a cool plan to fundraise. You can just do it. You don't need this.
Thank you, Ms. Farmer. Anyone else to speak before we proceed to a vote? Mr. Ransom.
I'd like to address that. I speak in favor of this and address the fact that it is or isn't funded. I think we've already identified that there is a budget in place for fundraising, so there is money available to the committee to do this. So it's not entirely unfunded, I don't think. So that's why I would be in favor of it.
Are you CB recognized, Mr.
Yeah, just a short comment. I find it interesting that there's opposition to further organization within this political climate.
You're opposite. With that said, I see no one else to be recognized, so we can proceed to a vote. All in favor of adopting the main motion as it stands, raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, let me do these changes.
Point of information.
Point of information.
We just created a committee with no chair and no volunteers.
Okay, no.
Good job.
Let's come to order. Let's come to order. The commentary is a little bit snippy on order. Okay, so with that said, we will proceed back into.
What information? Who will that committee report to?
Ms. Wilford, we are back into your report. If you have more to report on, or others have questions.
Thank you for the time.
So, my report was over. I was actually just going to see if anybody had any questions, and it looks like Tom does.
Yeah, I should have asked this when the chair was doing it, your office, so all this discussion. Do we have a status report on our lawsuit?
I can't answer that.
That would be fine.
Okay. The answer is no. I have emailed him a couple times. There was a short stint where I was actually getting some communication from him. I updated the forum. And since then, I've actually emailed a few times. I haven't gotten anything. I have not called him. I usually get better response when I call him, actually, but I have not done that. But long and short is no. We don't.
Have you tried making a
Let's go to order. The motion's passed. It's done. Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Ms. Wilford? Ms. Wilford.
I want to know about inquiries or information or about people wanting to run for office. In the past, as Harris County Chair, at this point in the election cycle, I got lots of boards for people expressing an interest in running for public office. And same thing for just general, just don't focus on the candidate inquiries. And y'all don't be case, because that can be fixed. We're just not getting inquiries that we got in the past. And there's no goal going on in 2019 inquiries. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm concerned because compared to times past at this juncture of the election cycle, I'm used to seeing a whole lot more interest.
Okay, so operations and handling, candidate interest forms, that is happening through, political. With Ted having just recently come on, I expect that we'll be getting that sorted out very soon. For general inquiries, I actually spoke with Victor about this yesterday, because it was the lobby day. And he was misunderstanding, that we need to, in addition to reaching out to those people, be forwarding that to their counties. So we've cleared that up, and it will be happening. He'll be going back through the time since we came on and getting those out to everybody. And that same goes for volunteer forms as well. But operations is handling information requests and volunteer forms.
And if you want to know more about the candidate stuff, Mr. Brown is right behind you. He's actually the one who has been passing it.
You mentioned Ignite, and I'm glad you did, because I believe the last meeting I had agreed to start putting those on Ignite, and it's on our, and I apologize. So any other questions? Yes.
I had a question about calendaring. We're submitting multiple events to the calendar, and it seems to require you to prove that you're not a robot in one of those capture things, and it says that it's expired on the page. I don't know if that's just maybe a problem on my side, or if that's alerted to that.
Can you send me an email?
Sure.
Thank you. And we will figure out this item. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, so I'm also interested in these same topics that you just spoke on. So how many months are we behind with the whole transition with Victor? So when he goes back and
About
redoes it, like 2 months or something?
Yeah, he had, well, I guess, December. Okay. He had just come on or was about to be appointed.
So November was the last month that we were sending out. Okay.
Anybody else? Yes.
So, as I recall, the previous cycle, there was interest in having a weekend where we got together.
A leadership retreat?
Okay. Is there any interest in?
That is not something that I've taken on, and that was actually a project that Arthur was heading up, independently.
Oh.
And would have loved to have seen it come together, but it is not something we have a bandwidth for right now. Although if somebody wants to head up a project like that, I would be happy to work with them, but I don't have the bandwidth to take it on.
As an art recommend.
We keep going back to that, yes.
You mind if I make a comment?
Yeah, go
Your time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
A lot of those files that appeared on Ignite magically was not magic. It was me working as secretary to put all the files on Ignite. So when I stopped doing that, there was no one took that up.
We lost our magic.
Yeah, you lost your name. And that's something I don't mind helping with, but that's a discussion with other people outside. But the county leadership retreat, I am still interested in that. I don't know how to make it move forward. When I contacted directly through email and phone calls a lot of counties, and there just seemed to be so little interest in motivation to do it that I ended up canceling it. I even put $1,000 deposit down at the ranch. Maybe it wasn't the perfect place for something. Some people had obligations, and I get that. But if people want to do it, even if it's a smaller group, I certainly would love to be in those discussions.
The reason why I asked about that is I'm thinking of 2020, the national convention, and just us putting on the best show, so to speak, the best face on how we do libertarian, how we do it in Texas, so to speak, and so just having a retreat like that, I thought would help this to come together.
If there are people who are interested in organizing a county leadership retreat, shoot me an email. I'll gather together and see what we can come up with. Either party or outside it, doesn't really matter. Anybody else? No.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wilford.
My name is Randy Simber. I'm the Communications PR Department Director. It's a pleasure to finally stand before SLEC and to be expert with you. I'll make it brief since I know that we're running way on schedule for previous discussion. My vision for our Communications and PR Department is to take our purposes of our Libertarian Party of Texas, communicate that using every possible platform to every potential voter of Texas. It's extremely difficult things to do. We know how we've struggled with that in the past. Very hard. So the ways I'm going to do that are several-fold. One, I'm going to rely on building a team of talented volunteers who are talented communicators, graphic designers, storytellers, video producers, statisticians, and researchers even. That's really important but challenging to do. Right now I've got about 4 people on my team who've all come together in the last few months. It's going pretty well. We'll continue growing that. The primary thing that my team does is social media. It's not limited to that, of course. This week we had a significant task and project that we've been working on for months, which was, I hope you all noticed. Do you know what we did this week? Thank you. One person that I appreciate. We finally switched to the what we call the national branding, the Torch Eagle logo branding. Challenging to do for technical reasons. Really, they had to do the website, nothing else. Changing those logos on social media takes minutes. Changing on the website involved a few different people. And you didn't notice that I screwed up the website for an hour and a half on Tuesday afternoon. Nobody mentioned to me. John and Anastasia did notice. I was pleased with that. It was a train back for about an hour and a half, actually more than 3. It was 3 hours. That's over, it was fixed, and we've moved on from that. I am continuing to look for talented communicators in our party, whether they're SLEC members, or county chairs, or anybody you know. Hey, this person is smart and a good communicator, particularly with skills on social media. How to phrase and communicate the values of libertarianism is very important. If they can do that well, I want to know that person. Please send them to me. If you think you're that person, I would love to have anybody from SLEC on this team. There are 4 C's that I have to say yes to have anybody who's on my team. The first is character. You have to be a man or woman of impeccable character. The second is competency. You have to actually show a level of competence in whatever you're doing. The third is chemistry, the ability to work well with the other existing people on our team. And the fourth is commitment. You have to be able to commit to the vision we have and the purposes that we're going for. That's challenging because we're setting the bar pretty high. And I have found that there are far fewer people that I've connected with in our party that meet those and are willing to be involved at the communications level. That's been a little disappointing, but we continue to move forward. In fact, I even, in my own mind, had 2 people in mind that I thought would be good fits, and they got snagged by other departments before I was able to reach out to them. So that's kind of how it is. So again, if there's someone you know in your county party or who's not really been involved, you know what? They write well on social media or a blog about libertarianism. These are the kind of people I'd like to connect with and see if they'd like to be willing to commit to our team. The final thing that is really important that I want you to know is our commitment, especially using social media, to support our candidates come election season next year. It's an off year right now, 2019. There's a handful of libertarian candidates I know of around the state running for things like city council, like Matt Keenan running for mayor of San Antonio, Teresa Rushing in Arlington, a couple other people. I'd like to use our social media to support them, even the local races, but I don't know who all of them are because they're not tend to be nonpartisan. So, moving forward towards next year, I'm going to put a special emphasis on supporting our Texas candidates and supporting our national candidate for president using social media. I thought as a party we missed out on a great opportunity in 2018 election cycle to use that. We've got 21,000, almost 22,000 followers on our Facebook page. We've got about 4,200 on Twitter, and more effort put into those is going to yield hopefully better results. So that's all I have to say. Any questions?
I'd like to ask you to add a 5th C, the word be courtesy
Courtesy.
in terms of the language used in the websites.
Yeah.
There's some people are just off the charts.
Yeah.
And I'm a professional, I'm not gonna do that, but I can tell you, it turns off other people that might want to volunteer.
You know, I agree with that, so I'm gonna address that quickly. What you see on Facebook is mostly things I have produced, not exclusively. Right now, John and Steve Harris do, actually, John doesn't do it at all. John has access to it, doesn't post on Facebook. Steve Harris does a little bit, very infrequent. It's mostly me, that's sometimes things that exclusively that I wrote, and sometimes it's things my team worked on. And so I want to address that. I've written a couple things, and sometimes think, after posting it, maybe that wasn't the best way to say it. The single best thing anybody can do in this body is to contribute talent and time to the communications team to help phrase and write and craft a message that has the most possible appeal. I don't believe I've posted a single thing that has been inconsistent with our party platform, but I have written a couple things, posted, and then later thought, you know, I wish I hadn't written that. So
I'm not accusing you of anything.
it's a fair criticism, and on the one hand, that's how it goes. We're gonna write things and we go, oh, that was, you know, we put it. That is part of it. On the other hand, I wrote a couple things in a couple recent posts, and I thought, that was terrible. But the importance of crafting things correctly, to speak to exactly what you said, is how you do it wrong, it turns people off. You do it the right way, and we have a chance to influence people. It's very hard to do.
I don't have a question, I just wanted to thank you very much for stepping up and taking over this department. We need more people to do things.
I have a quick comment. You know, I think a lot of times with the, you know, the courtesy and all of that, I think we're in charge of, we oversee and have as a you know, party asset, property that we don't control the message. It's user input. You know, like the Facebook, not the page, but the group itself. You know, so what I would just encourage anybody on this body, if anybody sees that going off the rails, is to remember what he just said and try to, you know, I know like people on the moderating team like to try to, you know, encourage positivity, keep the message positive, and kind of, you know, we don't want to, we're not here trying to censor people or do anything weird. You know, I think that if we could get some help with some positive comments, I think that would really go a long way to really make the people just not showing up for like yesterday's events and all the other activism opportunities. They just like to sit on a keyboard and bitch talk. So it really rounds that out when we've got people who are, you know, contributing in a positive way, making some sort of commentary.
Eric got a great point, and the body needs to know two distinctions here. The Facebook group called Texas Libertarians, which is an official asset of our party, and the Facebook page. Facebook group is something like 2,600 people in the group. It's discussion-based. We've done a little bit of party announcements there. I'd like to do more, particularly coming into next year, the election year. The Facebook page is public facing, and I would like to, there's a good opportunity to remind you all. Everything you post matters. Your name matters. You're on SLEC. I'm not on SLEC, but my name and face and picture are on the website as party members in leadership positions. So every comment that we make, myself included, is a reflection of our party. So when I'm looking at and I see, you know, comments that are, you know, uncourteous, like Mr. Ryan said, or just inappropriate, I think, well, that's just one random person. I kind of discount that. But when I see that person is in leadership in our party, it's my position, they're a county chair, they're a department, that weighs a lot more heavily. For somebody who comes to our party for the first time, or is even just interested in libertarianism, and they're going to start following on social media because that's the easiest thing to do. Their impression of our party, of our values, of our beliefs is going to be based on what we post and also what other people are saying in our comments. Now, and on one hand, we don't control all of that. On the other hand, we have great influence over it. So it's important that we as a body, and I need to remember this every time, that I want to startling respond to something which is kind of a default sometimes, that those words matter.
Real quick point of personal privilege. Is anyone else a little bit cold in here?
It's freezing.
Yeah, Tim, is there a thing I guess?
I'll text Fernando. Any other questions? I'll say final thing, we did the branding branding change. It went over very, very well. I was very pleased with it, even though I wanted to get it done months ago. And we finally got it done, happy with it. We've got new business cards that I think key people, John, Anastasia, Stephen, and Eric Garrett all have. Those have gone over well with the new branding, which is great. If you're a county chair and you'd like us to create some branding for your social media county pages, I'm happy to do that. It's very simple. Send me an email. And final thing, if this is for county chairs, I know it's just a couple of y'all. I've got a Slack group just designed for sharing social media content. My goal is to create anything we're creating and putting on our state party page could also easily be disseminated to local county party pages. You don't have to share it from another page. You can call it, looks like original content. So if you're interested in being part of that, tell me and I'm happy to get you in that.
Isn't it better though if we share it on the page, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, yes it is. Okay, so I can speak to that if you'd like. When you share something from, say, one page to the other, the region, for example, if Harris County page shares our LP Texas page, post, the LP Texas page gets credited with what's called that reach. 200 or 300 more people are going to see it, but far fewer people are going to see it and follow it. If you take that content and post it originally, it's an original post, you're going to get far more reach on it. So it benefits county party pages better. Now, both are good, but we've got 22,000 people already following our state party page, and some of our larger county party pages have 1,000, 1,200. My county party page come out has 700 and something people following it, and I think it's the more good original content we post, the more followers we get. So sometimes, but I think it benefits you more if you do that. At some point, I'd like to get to the place, maybe by election season next year, where we can produce something and say, I would love to see every or nearly every one of our county party pages post this today or in the next 2 days. It's hard to do. Of course, we can't require county party pages to do that, but I think it makes us look a little bit more organized. And then you can take this idea, some new social media post, and the reach would be really tremendous.
You've been really responsive. I know you've been responsive to me. You've been a hard worker, so I just want to say thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Here.
Mr. Turner, do you have a question? Okay, awesome. Next up, we have Mr. Martinez. Is this?
It's actually the time. I'm looking at the time. So to extend the time for Mr. Martinez if he needs it.
That's unnecessary. Okay. So Ms. Martinez, if you come forward, but before you give your report, I actually need to cut into your time a little bit and say thank you for running around and getting this meeting together. Please. Thank you.
Point of information, could Mr. Martinez combine his report as interest coordinator and the convention planning committee? Will we kind of do this all at one time?
Are you?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I don't know if we did that, I think we'd be done for the day, would we not? We just combine it, we'll give our reports, and then go home.
Would right now be an appropriate time to move to maybe just plow right on through the rest of it instead of lunch?
I mean, we don't move to recess, we don't keep going.
So is that an official motion to combine my time and the convention committee time? Just knock it off here?
If you just want to use your time to do it, we'll skip it later, go for it.
Okay, well, either way, I was either going to cede my time so that the convention, so that would be a 30-minute block. All right, I'll try to knock this out. Yeah, as the department head, yes, I wanted to make sure this was a great meeting. I got some great training for this. I want to thank Rick, who really, are you around? Yeah, who really was championing helping us get some movement here in Austin. And believe it or not, Rick, by just the motion you created allowed this venue to get a little more competitive than their bid. So we got a great room rate here in Austin and a great venue. And that's actually a free parking, and that's pretty good for Austin. As you'll see when we get to the convention committee report, some of the Austin properties that are bidding on the state convention, they don't even care about our RFP. They're like, nope, we don't give you no $100 room rates in Austin. What are you thinking, right? So to get $100 run rate in Austin or 109, whatever we ended up with 99, I think we got 99. 109, like that was just really great. But, if you don't like your accommodations, like if there's something that you want to bring up about this property, let me know, because I do think that we could potentially make this a regular stop in our select rounds, if not maybe always do our meetings at this property in Austin. As, I don't know, I think it was John that mentioned, when you bid on meetings, like in like 5-year blocks or 2-year blocks, that hey, we have 6 or 8 meetings that we do in the course of 2 years. When we bid on those, we tend to get a better deal. So, yeah, so we could take this side, for instance. I think we did that one. Some of you remember we did that in Waco. We did a 1-year deal in Waco, and that worked out maybe good, maybe some good, some bad, whatever. But yeah, it's something that I'm knocking around. I'll probably not. We're not looking for motion on that or anything. Just something I'm wanting you guys to consider. So a nice venue like this, right in Austin, maybe we should be doing our business in Austin. But not much to report from the other things here. We're looking at other select meetings, but a lot of my time has been going into the 2020 convention. The committee that I happen to serve on as well has just gotten a lot of great work done. We have a great report for you, and tried to upload it to Ignite, but I wasn't successful at that. I don't know if my permissions have changed or something, but I'll have a report. All of our minutes will be submitted. I'm not the chair. Tony Valdivia is the chair, so. But I'll be submitting the minutes, and I have the most knowledge right now about the report that we have of our work thus far. And it's been awesome. I can't wait to tell you guys about where we're at on our 2020 convention and what it's looking like and all the opportunities and options we're going to have as a body to move forward. So I don't know if we should move into that discussion or not. Unless you have any questions about select meetings or events. One thing I was going to say was to speak towards Arthur's idea of a retreat. From an events perspective, I think maybe instead of calling it, leadership retreat, that's a yawn fest, in my opinion. So to create some excitement around it, you could just create a better name for the event, like Libertarians Alive or something like that. So shooting up the top here, but trying and starting with a small budget with a small group, and then generate some excitement around that event. Libertarian leadership retreat, guys, might just be like, oh God, like, who's got time for that? I'm working 2 jobs or whatever. So I think we need to create some energy around it. It can be a retreat and be called a party, So people want to come to something fun, engaging, and exciting from their mundane lives. I can retreat in front of Netflix, like I said, or my Nintendo or whatever, right? I got my own way to retreat and recharge my batteries. So people want to socialize that one. So if you want some support from events on that, I would love to get with you and put some ideas together. Anybody that's interested in putting together a leadership retreat, I think events has a lot to offer. The events part, my team. So. All right. So if you guys want, yes.
Just a quick comment on the select meeting venue aspect of it. This is a cool hotel. It's a nice location. Room rate is nice. But $500 for internet? $10 a person. You're not staying in the hotel. That's a significant cost because there's a lot of people here. And that's just something to be aware of when you're looking at venues that, if you have to go on your tablet, and when you have a huge number of people that are all going off their tablet up that same Verizon tower, it's slow. And,
anyways, I say, the main ways I say that's awesome, that's the market. We're round off or trick or treat, or something like that. We might get free Wi-Fi. It's just not something they offer here in a lot of these nicer venues. So it's a give and take in any venue. Just like any relationship you have, there's not going to be a perfect one. You just have to find a give and take that works for you. So I thought $9 was a good rate. It's not a cost to the party. So, but anyway, yeah, one thing. All right. Anything else? Convention report? All right, let me see if it pulls up properly. Okay. Because I had it didn't look. Hey, yes, it did. All right, convention report. In the room, I think Cassie is on the convention committee. Amy Lyons and Becca Conlon. Jordan and Kate couldn't make it, and I believe Tony couldn't make it. Joseph. And Kate couldn't make it. But we had a meeting last night. and went over this again, and we've had some great progress done. So we had 14 responses from around Texas. Plano, Galveston, San Antonio, Austin, Odessa, McAllen, Richardson, Irving, Dallas, Houston, Temple, Abilene, Georgetown, and Fredericksburg. Those are all the cities that responded in some way. Some of them said no, some of them said hell no, and some of them said, yes, what can we do for you? So of those 14 responses, these are the venues that are currently bidding on our convention. So I'll go through these systematically. So this is just a top-line view. I want this body to know that many of those cities that have responded with, can we get an extension? When are y'all making a decision? I said, hey, we're making a decision very soon. I need your RFP right away. And their responses were like, okay, but the CVB's on board, but the hotels are kind of dragging their feet. So Galveston is one of those cities. They want to bid, they want to get in the game, but they're asking for a little more time. I want to say that Plano, Texas is also, the CVB wants in, but the venues are like, hey, can you find a bingo hall, something that can work with you? So there is some shifting, and then Austin and San Antonio are also not completely done submitting, working with those CVBs here. So just in case you're thinking of making any motions, SLEC, I will caution you that there's some more competition coming our way for our business. So we should hold that. Yes, sir.
When will we make our decision?
We can make our decision whenever the convention committee would like to make a formal recommendation to this body. We spoke about this last night. We want to make a recommendation of our top 3 picks, and then we will bring it to you guys to choose. We would, go ahead.
No, you want.
Okay. We'll bring it to the body to choose, but that's kind of the way we're going now. But that's a unanimous position from the committee. So you elected the committee for this, and we feel like we're almost ready to make a recommendation. Yes, sir.
I just want to remind the committee, from a strictly rules perspective, that our current rules dictate to us that when we select the hotel, that we, in the same meeting, which means it has to be done in reading document forms, maybe a call-in meeting, but probably an in-person meeting, that we also select delegate allocations. So I don't know exactly when we're going to do this, maybe next meeting, maybe the meeting after, I don't know, but there will need to be some prep done in order for us to watch the rules on the other information.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Are those numbers in any significance?
These are the order in which they bid. So as I received them, this is just the list. So you can see why Dallas is a few times randomly here.
Yes, I just want to voice my personal opinion that I do not want to go to Odessa based on the number of ex-girlfriends I have.
So would you say that I
Most of them, yeah. Most of them, that's.
you should consider hanging your hat on something. Sorry, no, I'm just joking. Okay, so we're gonna go through, there's a lot more detail. There's more detail. We're gonna go through each one of these bids together. I'm gonna walk you guys through them. So, yeah, I would say comfortably, John, we plan to do a site visit on our top 3. We want to walk this place as a committee. And then I feel comfortable that we could make a decision by the next time we meet, or at least make a recommendation by the next time we meet. Yes, sir.
I've just noticed in the list Houston isn't there. Is that because they haven't responded, or have we decided not to have it in Houston because state was there last year?
Actually, if you go back, I think I have Houston in the responses.
Like number 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Houston did respond. They got back to the CBD got back and they basically said, hey, you just had this here. Do you really want bids? And I was like, yeah, you can send them, but I doubt we'll take Houston again. But yeah, send them. So I haven't heard anything. Yes, sir.
Just to add some incentive to the Plano area, we have some of the finest welfare-funded high school stadiums. We make a great trip of touring around and seeing where.
So
Lots of money has been wasted in there.
That's welfare at the end of the investment, right? Okay, so let's move on. We're going to move on through these bits. Oh, yes.
I just want to point out the McAllen. I I'm sort of favoring that because that's like a Democratic stronghold, and I love us just be shining our goldness down there.
Sure, it's funny you mentioned that. I was personally going to speak very excitedly about McAllen as we go through.
Yeah, I'm there, man.
I think you'll like what their recommendation is now. So let me go through this, and I'll try to go quickly. Okay, next slide. So DFW, awesome. We're going to go, well, no, this one has a Temple CBD. Okay. So let's go. The Temple CBD bid again with their partner, the Hilton Garden Inn. Some of you who were at the 2014 convention will remember this. I have a picture up from the 2014 convention. If you remember the Mayborn facility, that's the facility that we used. I think we had, a good time. I think it was an interesting way to do it. The positives on this bid, they've honored our 109 room rate ask. They've honored our 1 per 50 comp, which means for every 50 sleeping rooms that this body generates, they will contribute a free sleeping room for us as a party to use. So if we fly in Ben Swan again, or we fly in Mr. West Van again, or whatever, she's not flying this time, right? But Wes, you were out that one. But yeah, if we do that again, that would give a free room for us to allocate, as we need for VIP. Okay. I estimate, this is just my personal, this is not a budget yet. I'm not putting budget numbers down, but I estimate this one would run us about $37K all in. That's AV, all food and beverage and rental. They're giving us complimentary shuttles. So you guys remember how that worked in Temple? If you were there, the city provided a shuttle so that we could, it ran regularly. But it's like a 10 or 8 mile journey, not 8, but it's like 7 mile journey, to.
Oh, but the construction.
Yeah, it was so, and I have that down here. So we have previous experience with them. It's so positive. They know our events. They know what we need. So these are kind of like some positives, highlights of the proposal. Here's some negatives. It's far away from the hotel, and it's a la carte. Everything means if we order a table, then they're going to say, okay, that's this cost. Would you like chairs with that? Yes, that's this cost. Okay, would you like salt shakers on your table? Yes. And so it starts to just kind of get a little bit, it leaves a lot of room for errors, Yeah, it's like Spirit Airlines, though. Yeah. So that's the Temple CBD, but the Hilton Garden Inn is a beautiful little hotel in Temple. So next one, the DFW Airport Marriott. Got a picture there of the General Barn. Looks like a nice big space, kind of what we need. They also honored the $109 room rate, complimentary meeting space as long as we spend $30,000 in food and beverage. They have 1 comp room per 50. Again, that's something that we asked for. They're offering 10% off their in-house AV provider, which is JSAV. They're pretty good. I like them. Here's the downside on this one: meet and feed in the same room. So they would want us to figure that out. Are we going to have our convention rounds? Are we going to have to eat out in the classroom? Or are they going to flip the space for us every time? So if anybody's been in a situation like that, it's not ideal. They don't have 2 big rooms where we can meet and then eat and then come back. They have
Speak to this place. I attended a dance convention for my kid there, and it's such a pain in the butt to get to because it's like going to the airport thing, and it's just a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah, which is probably why they did anything up there, but maybe that's why they're offering free parking. They seemed interested in the business. They've done a lot of follow-up, but yeah, I agree. Yes.
Is that where we were in 2012?
2012, were we at the airport? I don't know.
No, we weren't. I don't think we were at the airport. We were in Dallas, but
I think it's the Irvine that was
right there. Are you sure that's the actual? Is that the actual in-airport one? Because they have a DFW Marriott that you don't have to go into the airport for.
I actually think you're correct. I think it's that one. I think it's that one.
Yeah, it's actually pretty easy to get into. For having to get, you don't have to actually go into the airport. It's about 2 miles to the east of it. It's just called the DFW Airport.
Okay. Thank you for the feedback, and yeah, we'll be digging in with some follow-up questions.
This is going back to the temple.
Yeah.
As I recall, the meeting space is a little cramped. Is that?
No, that's not true. The meeting space is huge. It's a giant facility, and
so okay. Well, that's my question. So were we just sort of? Did they not allocate enough space for us back then? Because I recall being.
You remember being cramped in Temple?
it was huge.
Well, because I remember people had to stand up on the sides. I see. I think that was San Antonio. Yeah. But, okay, well, okay. Okay, and if you were standing in Temple, I don't deny that, but I just remember the facility being so massive. We were struggling to fill it, so, okay. All right, let's move through. The next one is the Hampton Dallas Mesquite, Texas. They are in the $109 room rate, $20 suite upgrade. So let's say anybody wants to upgrade to a suite, it's only $20. Complimentary meeting space if we spend $28,000 in F&B. And they do have a separate meal space for us. There is a 23% service charge, but they actually sent us a hard quote. And they're like, we will do this for $37,281.30. Now, it does not include AV. So that price does not include AV. So we would contract out the AV. So I like this bid, and the city of Mesquite actually threw in some deals, to sweeten the deal on that. I think Mesquite is offering to print our badges for us. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I got all the proposals here from the It's can you pass that around? So Mesquite is offering some good kickbacks to us. Let me find that.
What is the approximate cost for AV?
They included their pricing list. I have anticipated to be about $9,000 additional for AV. If we were to rent everything, if we were to get scrappy and bring in some of our stuff and use our 8-foot screens as opposed to the 9x12s, yeah, we could probably get the cost down a few thousand. Yes, sir.
I also want to point out one other benefit. If we do hold it over speed, the chair will be much more able to be on site hands-on.
That's awesome. Yes, let's see, we did throw in. Okay, so the benefits with doing it here would be a complimentary hot breakfast with every room. Wow. Yes. They said, sorry. Yes, I see your hands on it. Give me 1 second. So no, Mesquite is not the one offering to do the complimentary background. It's McAllen, yeah, you're right. But they are offering complimentary meeting space in the hotel. If we spend our $28,000 in F&B with them, minimum. Now, that's negotiable. Sometimes we can get that down to 27 or 26. So we can look at ways to shave the dollars down. Any questions about this, Tom?
Yeah, I would just say at this point in the presentation that this has more granular details than I personally need, and I don't know what the rest of the body thinks. I'm willing to let the committee do its work and bring us back 3. If you want to go through, breeze on through it, a little bit faster, I would be appreciative of that.
You got it. Yeah, let's go through. Sounds good.
Second.
All right. All right, McAllen bid. Next. Odessa bid. Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown bid. Next.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Okay, let's go back.
This is a new one,
Yeah, it's maybe a couple years old.
Oh, Georgetown.
I would like a little bit of granular detail on this.
And so you see how it goes.
Okay, you guys are calling the shots. What do you need? What do you want?
I like this.
So they did not they did not honor our room rate, but $139 is pretty good, so I put that as a positive. F&B minimum, they only want us to spend about $20,000, so that's pretty good. They're offering complimentary parking, complimentary Wi-Fi in the meeting and the sleeping rooms. They're offering a 10% AV discount and complimentary signage throughout the building, right? Here's the problem, 23% service charge, so that's gonna be interesting. And then they don't have a separate space, according to their proposal, for our meeting. So we would either flip the lunch there, or, you know, go find another big place to do our event, our lunches, or whatever. So that would be challenging. Okay? Yes, Mr. Lowy?
Some delegates are concerned about whether they are allowed to bring guns with them into the meeting.
It's a great point. The committee's been discussing that.
No 30-on-6 sign.
The general consensus is that if the place does not have a sign and does not state that, we're not gonna ask them. Because it's stupid to ask permission.
Can I bring my
If
gun here,
it's
Mom?
illegal. So that's our consensus, and that's what we're gonna do.
So we just assume our rights.
We're gonna assume our rights, and then if it has 30-6 guys, we'll just come and let you know. But there are some places where the dollar is like, just, you know, it's gonna be a $15,000 event, but it's 30-6. Well, the body should consider that. It's our fiduciary responsibility to at least give you the opportunity to save money and do that, right? But yeah, if the business doesn't show it, and then you walk, hey, to a store, you talk about that, like walking into a gas station and say, hey, you don't have a 30-6, can I bring my gun here tomorrow? What do you think they're gonna do, right? Anyway, yeah, let's keep moving. Paul? Yes.
I know you're probably not really considering it, but I know Ben's voiced about Odessa. That place is still under construction. It's brand new.
The CBD, the convention center?
No, yes, okay. It is not even open yet.
No, Odessa didn't bid with the CBD.
Okay.
They bid with 2 hotels, which we'll get to.
Okay, so they're not using the Marriott downtown?
Oh, the Marriott downtown with the convention center attached to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is proposed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just, since we're libertarian, I just want you to know that is a joint partnership with the city and the O family to build this, so it's built with taxpayer money.
Most of these buildings are, yeah. I agree, most of these buildings are, but guys, we're under election code, we're under yeah. Okay, so if we want to fight government, we can, anyway. Holiday in Richardson, Texas, this is a good one. I'll have all these details on Ignite, so you can actually go through this proposal on Ignite. Cool, next one. This is the one that the Fun Dome in Odessa. Does anybody know about this?
Oh, yeah.
That's an old Holiday Inn that has kind of a convention center and stuff. I mean,
it's quirky. They got rich golf course inside. Yeah.
Do they have a maximum height for the slide in case?
Can you make this jump from this window? Okay, I will say, guys, I was excited about the cost here. I don't know what the facility's like. It might be kind of old and run down, but boy, they really were like, they even didn't give us a food and beverage minimum. They're like, whatever you spend on F&B, we don't care. You just got to spend it with us.
I was looking at this one, I was asking, we can have like a mini children's libertarian convention simultaneously.
Just a point about inland Odessa, because I've helped build 2 hotels there. One, if people overflow, they don't want to stay in the hotel, or you just need more rooms that are available. Hotel room availability in that area is bizarre and strange, and sometimes really tight, and sometimes really loose, and sometimes just really scary. And if you want to hire anybody to do anything at all on that facility, bring them from San Antonio, because you're not going to find anybody willing to do any work there. They're already employed.
Okay.
Just a heads up.
Odessa has a generous offer. The city was going to chip in some things, so we're looking at Odessa. We are seriously looking at it. Okay. Next, is that it? Last one? Okay. The Westin DFW Airport. This is a more upscale venue. They want $56,000. All right.
So they're going to have on kids.
AT&T EECC, which is right on the UT campus, gorgeous facility. Yeah, it's a tough one. They want a lot of money for that one. But yeah, we're looking at that one as well. Oh, yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask if you could swing back to the McAllen. That was one of the guys.
Oh, did we go?
We haven't gone through.
We blew through.
Breeze through it.
Okay. Go back to McAllen. Yep, here we are. And I've got my McAllen list right here. Yes, sir. Question? Oh, you just want to look at it?
Yeah, that was one.
Okay, so McAllen is offering $109 room rate all the way down to $75 with 10 hotels bidding on the sleeping rooms. They're offering complimentary chairs, staging, dance floor, screen, and LCD in the meeting rooms. Complimentary goodie bags for every attendee. 450 complimentary badges to be printed for us, plus the lanyards. 1 hour free cocktail reception. $20,000 comped towards our final bill. And $27,000 all in is what they're estimating. Wow. Okay. So McAllen is a series of centers we'll be visiting. This is a picture of their newly built and open convention center. McAllen Square.
So, on that same line, the chair staging, so does that also apply for the breakout?
Yeah, hey, that's something I should probably let you know. This committee is kind of, we might be doing away with breakouts. Yeah, all together. Yeah. I would say we're pretty unanimous on that. Just kind of, that didn't work. You can see that. Yes, Mr. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I can't imagine that. Eric.
Whoever else.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I mean, I made a comment tongue in cheek earlier, but I think it would be respectful of the body to try to avoid, yes, a lot of these buildings were made with taxpayer dollars and all that, but I would try to avoid any active kickbacks provided with any sort of taxpayer funds. If they're providing a $20,000 by like the Visitor Bureau of McAllen, that's stolen funds. We're accepting stolen money. So I get being financially prudent, but I would like that to be considered. And when you do a final presentation for those just to be disclosed, like, hey, these are the options, and here's so you know about it.
Perfect. I hear that.
That's my feedback to the community.
I'll acknowledge Ben, but first I do want to say that also remember any CBB, our convention center will probably be 30 on 6, 30 on 6.
I will say it's not necessarily the case that they're funded by taxpayer funds. Actually, most CBBs are nonprofit organizations, and they tend to be funded by the Chamber of Commerce. Sometimes, but those are private businesses that join the chamber. It's not always the case, so it might be the case in McAllen, but
if it's a bureau or association, that's sometimes they're an association. Yeah. Can I acknowledge Randy?
No. Does anybody have objections to Randy?
Okay. I don't know enough about him.
So one of the last one.
Randy, what was it?
It's not any good joke, it's about timing, and we're clearly
I
past
gotcha.
that.
Okay, I think this is the last one, right? ATT, and then the final one should be Abilene. Okay, Abilene just mailed us a packet. It was arrived in the mail. They wanted us to have a physical proposal. All I know right now is that it has a $109 room rate, and they haven't really shown us. They're saying if we spend somewhere around like $30,000 with food and beverage, they'll give us everything else for free. So Abilene's in the mix. So I just wanted to give you guys a report. The reason I went this granular though, Tom, is because I saw on the forum some questions of whether the committee had gotten any work done. So I wanted to come in and show you guys we're working hard. There's a lot of details to come through. Bear with us. We should probably have a recommendation for you on the forum at least soon, if not by the next meeting. Yes.
Does the city of Fredericksburg have anything?
Fredericksburg responded and said, we want to be on your radar for 2022. We just built it opened their new.
They haven't even broken ground.
They haven't broken ground yet?
They're in the process.
Yeah, so Fredericksburg said, hey, we saw this, we can't bid yet, can you just keep us in mind for 2022? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Last mention was my first participation in the Libertarian Party, and One thing that I noticed, there are a lot of people that didn't have a table. And is that a function of the venue, not enough tables to rent, or is that something?
I think what happened there was higher attendance than anticipated. It's tough to know, as we're going through this. And then I think what happened also was just that a lot of alternates showed up that we weren't anticipating. But probably the highest number of alternates we've ever had. So typically the alternates won't have a place to sit with the body, but I'll let John speak to that.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of background on that, I think most are aware, but when the room was originally set up, it was set up with tables. And as we started seeing people come in and take it toward distributing things, we looked at it and we said, it's not gonna work with these tables here. We made a last minute decision. We flipped the room around, we took all the tables out so we could put more chairs in for people.
Went to theater style.
Yeah, so that's.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, since Mr. Goldston's not here, I said we need a venue that's accessible.
Oh, yeah,
Very
ADA,
Because I know he had issues in Houston trying to.
Yeah, and it's not that the room isn't ADA compliant, it's that we were pushing the boundaries of our limit, of our seating limit. So we are considering that, guys. That was a 5,000 or 5,600 square foot space, almost 6,000 square foot space. And I would say that's the minimum we can get into. I would like to see us in like 7,000 or 8,000 square foot. I think that's kind of where we're looking at. So the committee's looking at that and using that last year. We're anticipating, we got the numbers, 427, I think was the total count. So we're booking for 450 is what we're doing. And space. There was other questions around? Yes?
So are we gonna be able to have tables for all the delegates in the next one?
Well, it depends on you. So it's a good question, right? But ultimately, this body will make a decision. I will give you guys everything you want. But let's say this body decides that 30 outfits is a deal breaker, and then the only venue we can find is a 6,000 square foot is adequate, and that's what we want. We want to make our decision based on venue theory. There you go, right? So it's going to be ultimately up to you. You can get a really nice facility if we have to make some compromises.
Oh, that's
Right? So it's going to be up to you. I'm not making that decision. This body's making that decision. I'll present all the facts to you. Yes.
In Houston, we did not make optimum use of the space, and it's because of the way we did the seating. I had thought we were going to, and I encourage us to have an assigned seating by counties, whichever we require, and then we start alphabetically and just assign the seating for the counties. That in Houston, it was just kind of a free-for-all, and so it left gaps. So we had one straight chair here, two straight chairs, vacant chairs here, three, and we tried to get people, but that took a long time. If you remember being there the first day, it took a long time to get seated. I think if we did it this way, it's fair, it's objective, and it takes care of the seating problem, and we use every seat.
Agreed. That's awesome. In a tight space, that might be what we have to do. I'm hoping we have a massive space that kind of we can just relax in.
I like that better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see Arthur.
Can I get a promise from the current members in the room of the convention committee that they will produce a convention report?
We did that.
I want it on record.
Yes, here's the cool thing about this committee is Cassie Gale is on the committee. So that the sole purpose, is that we have somebody in budget that's already got a great working knowledge. Guys, I'm not a detail-oriented person by nature. I'm just a big picture dreamer. Sorry. Yeah, I'm really terrible with details, so I'm good at surrounding myself with people that can help me in that area. So Becca, Cassie, these are some phenomenal record keepers. I'm not a really good record keeper. So, yeah. I share records.
I have actually put some structure within this committee. I'm the secretary of the convention committee for whatever reason that is. And we did discuss in our first meeting that we are going to continue giving you reports like the one that you have seen today, as detailed as we possibly can, and we do commit to provide a full convention report after the event. You may put that in the minutes.
All right, are we good? Thank you, guys.
Yes, Mr. Sharp.
If we still have more business, can I take a break for lunch? I'm hungry.
All right, how long up here, I was gonna ask if there's anyone else from the committee who wants to report.
We have like 45 minutes left.
We have 30 minutes.
So there's been a motion and a second to recess for 1 hour. We can see to a vote on that. All in favor of a 1 hour recess? Is there any objection to 1 hour recess?
Objection.
All in favor of 1 hour recess, raise your hand. In favor, yes. All opposed, raise your hand. That's right. We will keep going. Mr. Thomas.
This will be quick. The Rules Committee has met twice. One was just our organizational, one was our whole meetings, that type of stuff. The other one was, the other meeting, as some of you know Eugene Flynn, he had a long list of stuff, so we're still working through that. And he's still in the stages of, just discussing ideas and just inviting people to, rules@lptexas.org if they have any questions or if they have their own proposals. So that's it.
Let's move to adjourn.
Like to move to adjourn. Is in order. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there objection to adjourning?
Objection.
All in favor of adjourning, raise your hand. All opposed? Motion fails. All right, is there anyone from platform here who wishes to give a report on what the committee is doing? I see no volunteers, so we can move on. Credentials, Anna.
I'm not even going to come up in front of this. Credentials doesn't really get started until about 6 months before convention. We typically just elect at the same time that we do the other ones, just because they're all convention committees. I did send out an initial email to the committee to try to have our first meeting so we can select our chair and secretary and whatnot. But I sent it to credentials@lptexas.org, and it took me a while to realize why I got a little on that. So I will send an email to the correct address and get that. So.
One thing that I would ask of the committee, in the past, the committee has done great work, and you've been on them, and you're well aware. But it has seemed that their process, while discussed, it was not codified, and there was some confusion, I think, while people were getting stuff together. And I would urge the committee to use this time now to start codifying that, whether you just do it based on something done before or making something new, so that the process can be documented. And if we get people at the convention, which we ought to do, say, I want to help, you say, here's this piece of paper, stand over there and do that.
I will make that recommendation in our first meeting.
Thank you. Alright. If there's no one else, we can move on to this young discussion of the LP Texas business.
Wow, that sure came fast. Okay. I was like, oh, we got lunch, the end of the day, but here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna give you this. I thought I had plenty of time to give it to you. Hey, everybody. Hey. Hello. We are continuing our discussion on adopting a vision and mission statement for LP Texas to stay on track. And so we're focused on the most important things we want to accomplish. Okay? So that's what we've been talking about.
PowerPoint or the PDF?
Either one. The music files you probably don't want.
I mean, I don't know, maybe good.
Okay. So just as a recap on where we started, next slide. We started off by talking about previously, I think it was about a few meetings ago, looking at companies, looking at their vision and mission statement. Then we talked about a framework. This is called a strategic framework. And a lot of businesses and corporations use this type of framework with organizing their
their group, company, nonprofits or business. We talked about the vision statement is our aspirations, what we want for LP Texas. Then we go with the mission statement, sort of our purpose. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Right? Then for when we establish that, it's easier with our goals, strategies, tactics, committees, our counties, all of it works together to support what we set up for the vision and mission statements. Okay? Now, as a result of that, it should give us a better foundation on our organizational effectiveness, give us a unified sense of direction, make our messaging easier, increase our public awareness. It helps us focus on our intentions. What are we intending to do? Okay? So the first step I always use when I'm starting a new project is gather information. So I came and asked the body to give me their thoughts on what they thought was our aspirations and vision. So we had people respond back, thank you for that. And so today we're just going to go through and look at what your fellow members see as LP aspirations, okay? Promotion of libertarian principles, driving public policy. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Look for the commonality. If you did not answer the survey, look to where your answers are in the survey, okay? Let's see if we can find a common theme, what everybody sees. Driving public policy, lobbying government. Get libertarians elected.
Amen.
Okay? What do you see? Win elections.
Amen.
Okay? And next you can go to that. Creating real voter choice by ending two-party monopoly. Here's one of my favorites. Win everything. Okay? Win it all. Don't leave nothing on the table. Win it all. Okay, that's the long-term. Short-term, organize more counties, and then organize more precincts. Promote individual freedom and responsibility. Next. Increase people's right to choose their own path. Voting. You might can help me with that.
Increase voting percentage.
Okay.
Increase voting share percentage.
Okay. Next, we have a comment. Work as a team to help grow the Libertarian Party through activities such as candidate promotion and improve public messaging. Fight for draft and for legislative priorities. Okay? Yeah. Run qualified and charismatic candidates and win elections at all levels of government. Okay? That's what we aspire. At least 2 to 5 local and state-run victories. Here's your candidates. Okay? Thanks, John. Advance liberty. Okay. Elect candidates that advance and protect liberty. See LP Texas is separate from SLEC. These comments says our principles are good. We're fine with that. That may be some of you as well, John. And then we asked on the survey, what are your 5-year aspirations for LP Texas? Have elected state reps and candidates be a part of the political discussion. Okay. Legislative platform, libertarian principles. Successful LP Texas will be competitive in certain races against the 2 major parties. Diverse in all demographics, really like to target the fringe and minority communities, bring back LBGTD to the libertarians. Okay? 5 years, what does a successful LP Texas look like to you? 5% elected presidents in Congress and 10% gubernatorial offices nationwide. Okay? 5 years, competition, competitive in local and state races, winning local elections, raising more funds, participating in debates. 100 elected libertarians, even if they're all dog catchers.
Yes. It's my job. I release them.
A more mainstream message is needed. Relatability, taxation is theft is too much, or it should be augmented with too much taxation and theft. Is theft. Thank you, John. Ready and actually make a winning race. I want to see competitive competition, party offices due to overwhelming demand, have elected state reps, be a part of the political discussion, diverse in all demographics. I think we saw that one. Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any more than that?
No, I'm just going forward with, you want
Yeah,
that one?
yeah, and go for it. I think we got it. Let's talk about that one for a second. So, what did you see for the common theme of the aspirations of the group?
Win. Put candidates in office.
Okay. Now, and the comment I want to address about the principles and our rules, etc. If you see, we pull this from our rules. The purpose for which the party is organized, nominating, supporting candidates, entering into political. So it doesn't take from what we already have said. All it will do, next slide, for us is allow us to make things easier for the public to know what we're about by just setting a vision and a mission statement. And it helps us all be working in tandem to make sure anytime we drift off, we come back. The analogy I can think of, let's say you go in and talk to your financial advisor, and you tell him you want conservative investments. So he puts the fixed income and all those kind of things in your portfolio. Then he decides he's going to juice, or her, juice the performance and put in oil and gas wildcats, startups, right? So we in the business call this style drift. We've drifted from what you set up to be the objectives to be. So when you have a vision and mission statement, it sort of keeps you from the style drift, drifting on to some other good projects, but maybe not the most important things we want to accomplish. Does that make sense? Okay. So what everybody is saying they want is pretty obvious. We already, sure we have principles, but it's just making it a little clearer. Okay? So basically, we're at the point of, does this make sense to do for us to make it a little bit stronger, and hopefully we can get everybody working together. Okay? Any questions on that? Does it make sense to do this? Do you want to do it? Then how about, can we get a motion to do it? To set up a vision and mission statement for the group?
Yes.
Yes.
Make a motion.
What is the motion?
To accept.
To establish a vision and mission statement for LP Texas.
Sir,
Second motion.
it's Mike Ryan. Mike Ryan, and do you have that motion?
Set up a vision and mission statement.
To set up a vision, okay. Alright.
I have a point of information. Is it gonna include a graphic in it too, just like you showed us
Well,
here?
first, we just want to get it started, and then we can determine what you want to do and what you want to say.
But I appreciate the idea of clarifying it for the public, and I think sometimes graphics are good to do that.
That can be done.
I'd like to amend the motion. I'd like to a committee, vision statement committee.
Okay?
That can work on this and then bring it back to the motion.
Okay. So order. There's been an amendment to the motion on the floor. The amendment would defer the item of setting up a vision statement to a committee that they could then bring back and report to us.
Absolutely.
Do you have any details on the committee, or do you just want the chair to?
Actually, I would love it if Marion could be on the committee, maybe to chair it and help them through, or at least get them started.
Okay.
And then that's the motion, the amendment to the motion, is that we would move forward on this, but through committee.
Okay.
Subcommittee.
And do you care about how many members are in there? Do you want, here's the question I'm trying to get to. Administratively, once the former committee has been populated, how is that gonna happen? Does that need to be included?
Let me ask you this. First, have we established that we are going to do it?
We haven't adopted that.
Okay, we first need to see if we're going to do it.
So.
Yeah, my motion. Yeah,
It's how we're gonna do it.
It's how we're gonna do it, yeah. Because I think if we leave it up to us today or whatever, like that could get weird. And spend the rest of the afternoon doing it.
So how are people going to get on this committee? That's the question I hear.
Raising your hand down.
I think it should be a temporarily appointed.
So the chair will appoint.
Will appoint.
So if you're saying temporarily appointed, how do you permanently appointed? That becomes.
Temporarily appointed chair will make the meeting.
Okay, so the temporarily appointed chair will appoint the other members.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Proceed forward.
And you are asking that.
Well, I would love it if Mary was involved in this somehow because she has the guidance, she has.
Right. And I've talked to some people like Chelsea, she's done some things, so we can put together some people to get it.
So are you willing to do that?
Yeah, sure, of course I would.
Before we do that, I want to make sure the secretary is clear.
Setting up a committee to report to the SLEC, committee chair will be appointed by the chair. I got that far. And then the committee chair will appoint.
But you're good? Secretary, for the point of opinion.
Okay, so my question is the only purpose of the committee, the vision and mission statement, and once that is complete, the committee can be dissolved?
Well, that's the charge now, is to bring you back a vision and mission statement. Now, where it goes from there.
Okay, but I'd like to add it into the motion that it's dissolved once this is done, because otherwise we just have this committee going on with extra admin crap.
Normally, when a report is accepted by a committee, that committee is considered.
That's the secondary motion to the motion?
Sure.
Okay.
That's two motions deep.
Before we do that, I don't know that I heard a second. Was there a second to the amendment? There was a second. Okay, now we're going to Tim's. Was there okay, is there a second to Tim's amendment?
I'll second this amendment.
There is a second to Tim's amendment. Okay, now to your secondary amendment, the committee will be dissolved after the statement.
So ad hoc.
Ad hoc.
They don't, in the government, they establish what's in there.
What's the vote?
I support all amendments and I move to approve all amendments.
Okay, and so I'll take that as a second vote. So there has been a call of all previous questions. We will now proceed on whether to vote on all previous questions. All in favor of calling on previous questions, raise your hand. All opposed? All right, that passes. We're going to vote on Jennifer Payne's second level amendment, which would add to Mr. Farmer's amendment that the committee dissolves after the adoption of the business statement.
We need evidence.
Oh, that's what we can.
We're both hats up here today.
So anyway, all in favor of Ms. Payne's second level amendment, raise your hand. Opposed? That passes. Now to adopt Mr. Martinez's primary.
Abstaining from this.
All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Oh, sorry. What Mr. Martinez's amendment set to do was
As
to
amended,
set it up, as a committee, instead of just saying we're going to adopt a business statement. So all in favor of that, raise your hand. All opposed? That passes. Now to pass the thing. All in favor of passing this motion we have now created, raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. No, the agenda is empty.
I will second that.
All right, there's a motion to adjourn.
On this motion, can we see the original, or, sorry, our board schedule, just to make,
Yeah.
just to remind my broken head?
So,
This?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
so I have
Okay, and rules we skipped
I have
because
like a minute on Henderson still.
So we have a motion to adjourn. Before we go any further, I do have an announcement, so I'm gonna take that first. We have a few people with missing pictures on the website. We have Gary Gagnon, Marion Young, Mike Ryan, David Shaw, DJ Howard, and Eric Schaefer. If you will get with Wes at the end of the meeting, he will take pictures. Anna, if you will get with Anna at the end of the get with someone. There's people back there that have cameras. If you will get with them, they will take pictures. So all that said, we'll now proceed to a vote. All in favor of adjourning, raise your hand. All opposed? Carries.
So, if anybody was talking about wanting to be social in life, I do not have money, and I would like to be social. Just saying.
We don't necessarily have risk.